Hey everybody, Ryan here from Music City Live. Welcome to the show. I'm here with Dan Preston. Dan, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me, buddy.
Absolutely. Everybody, Dan is as a sound engineer and tour manager currently with April Wine.
Yeah, I'm just doing sound engineer. I'm taking a little TM break.
TM break. That's what I just heard.
I love it.
I love that. That's crazy.
Yeah, I've been doing that for about 10 years, TMing various bands like them and Platinum Blonde back in the day, and then Finger 11, Big Rex. So it's nice to take a little break. Right?
Yeah. You get to just chill behind the console for a while.
I love it.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna take it for everything it's worth.
So when did that start? When did you start doing just the FOH side of it?
So yeah, I guess if you can go way back, started with Platinum Blonde. I worked for Frontier Sound Light for a while, and through that I started working with Platinum Blonde, and I was just doing monitors and guitar tech, and then we started doing the TM stuff. It was right with April Wine, so it's crazy, kind of full circle. So that's why.
When did you stop though? Like when did
stop? Yeah.
When did you stop?
A year ago.
A year ago. Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So
Just
it's
been a minute.
Back in with April Wine.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess we got lots of time to go back.
Let's do it. No, let's do it. So this is our first time actually meeting.
Yes.
But you work with my dad and my brother.
Yes.
Which we just discovered.
That's crazy. I kind of knew as soon as you started talking in the guitar shop there, and just your face, and so and there's your voice. I'm like, who's your dad?
Who's your dad?
It's like, 'cause I've never been here. I've never been to the shop.
Yep.
I mean, the other one that's out in the farmland there. We there was a little show out there for my aunt and you guys put it was like a kind of a celebration of life while she was still here.
Oh wow!
And you guys supplied the stage and PA and did the tent and everything. So. Thank you and your family for that. It was very nice for my Aunt Linda. So absolutely. So I've been out there, but I've never been here. So we put it all together, and here we are.
I do. The older I get, the more I look and sound like my dad.
Yeah,
and I wear that as a badge of honor, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's
a handsome man.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because we had a friend of mine who's come back into my life recently who used to work here a long time ago when he was going to school at Western. He was here yesterday in my office, and I kind of put my hands. My dad has this thing where he kind of leans back in his chair and he puts his, and he without missing a beat, he's like, "Man, you remind me of your dad right now."
Right.
And you know what? And it's funny, if that would have been 20 years ago, I would have went, "Oh man," as the young Ryan. But now I'm like, yeah, you know what? Right on, man. That's totally awesome.
Yeah, you learn to appreciate those things as you get older.
Yeah,
things that we made fun of our parents before when we were 20 and 30, right?
They were right on all of it. Like 99% of it, they were right.
Yeah.
In some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
But cool. So man, so where were you born? Where did you grow up? Where did it all start?
Yeah. So born 1975 in Newmarket, Ontario. Right. So I just passed 50, which is blowing my mind. So I was in Newmarket, grew up there. That's where I started, working, in local music stores and local studio and all that stuff we'll get into. But yeah, and then now I'm based in Innisfil, Ontario. So, just around Barrie. Yeah. It's a good little spot.
It's a good spot,
there. And, 2016, we're kind of, my little town of Stroud is 2,300 people. And it's all closing in now. But,
that's
so
how
I think by the time that we're, me and the wife are going to split out of there, once my daughter's, doing her thing, as everything's kind of coming in on us, we'll bail out before it gets too close.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good spot. And I like being up there. It's nice and central, especially for right now, tour manager for April Wine. He's just up in Wasaga, and that's where we got the gear. So we're just, that's our little home base, and
nice,
so everything's pretty easy, to get at. Cool. So yeah, good little spot.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
And then how did you get into music? So guitar from a young age,
that was a catalyst, right? Just kind of, I guess, when I was really young, I always liked music, but it was all like the early MTV age of stuff. And it was sort of, some pop. I loved my sister was listening to Duran Duran. I thought they were super cool, and they're a great band, right? And it was a Michael Jackson thing. I loved Michael Jackson. And then my buddy, James across the road, he's like my childhood best friend. He came over, and I guess we were probably, we were 8 years old, and he brought a cassette, Motley Crue, Shout the Devil. They just released it, it was like a week old.
Sweet.
And so he's like, "You gotta listen to this," right? And popped that in, little ghetto blaster. I remember being in my room.
Yep.
And that intro to Shout the Devil, in the beginning, I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
And obviously, I got a little taste of that kind of thing with Kiss. You knew what Kiss was, you know, the Gene Simmons, that like kind of demony, like broody kind of, you know, horror movie kind of thing. And I always thought that was kind of cool when I was really little. But then I thought this was like a level up, you know,
right.
And I just thought it was the coolest thing. And it's like, and you know, so I think I skipped over rock music. It was like pop straight into metal. Like there's no, you know, like it's like rock, yeah, whatever, right? Because you know, and I love my classic rock now. Like it's, I think it's where I sit more, even more so than metal. No, even though I'll be a metalhead till the day I die, but it was a big skip. It was like Michael Jackson full into, you know, it was, Motley Crue, the Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Ozzy, Ozzy was like the takeover, you know, for me. I was just like, once I started really listening to that, then had to go backwards into Black Sabbath, you know?
Yep.
And that's where I was just, and then Metallica after that. I'm like, oh, geez, you know, here we go. It's like this, like metal and is the bomb.
That was a magical time for that music too, man. I mean, it really was. I mean, to the point where now, like, you know, even Ozzy's gone, but like that, he'll influence people forever. Like that'll.
Oh, he's the godfather.
You know,
metal always will be. There's no one that'll take that spot.
No.
Right. So he'll be,
There'll be people that'll emulate it, and there'll be people that'll sample it. There'll be people that'll play riffs from it.
Yeah.
But it's him, man.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's just like about that era. Like when you look at that, even like 60s, 70s, 80s, into the 90s. It's where I think it's kind of bookended, you know, like that. And then there was like with new age music and stuff like that. That 30, 40 years right there, that's like, that's everything. And that's a kind of, you know, in its own little capsule, and it'll never be that way again, I don't think, right? Just because the way the industry is now. And it's really hard to be original. Like, you know.
And they were doing stuff that was out of the box.
Oh,
like it was like pushing. You know, there's some of those bands were doing stuff that was pushing the borders on their shows. Right?
Absolutely,
like
and that's
some of the
why
things they were doing.
Yeah,
and I think, you know, back then there was no cell phones, there was no social media, there was no YouTube. So they got away with it all at the live shows.
Yeah.
You know? Now somebody starts eating a head off a bat. It's on the news, and everybody's calling them a, you know, Satan worshiper or something. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what it was back then. But it was almost like it was accepted by the fans, and it was just like, you know, like local law and media were just like, oh, you know, oh my, you know. But fans just loved it. Where it's just, you know, even the fans now a little more conservative these days, where they're just like, oh. It's like, really, you know, that's really cool. I don't think they should do that. And, you know,
well, I think
more cancel-y.
I think parents, you know, especially like I'm a parent of two young girls. So, you know, I can't imagine what life will be like in 10 years. Yeah. Cause they're right now they're 2 and 7. Yeah. But that being said, I think that parents are, you know, I mean, not that this has changed that much, but I mean, when I was young, you know, my parents both worked full time. And, you know, I would even, you know, when I was not even in high school yet, I would pick my brother up from school and we'd go home and turn the TV on. And, you know, my parents weren't really worried about what was on at 3:30 in the afternoon on TV. Yeah. Well, my daughter now picks up the remote and she's got access to YouTube on TV. Yeah. So I think parenting now is different too. Like because the parents have to hover a bit more, a little bit more guidance and control over what the kid is getting access to. Whereas for you, putting that cassette in that ghetto blaster changed your life.
Yeah. Just changed me into a Satan worshiper right away. I'm kidding, of course. But but it got you into that vibe and that energy and that tribe, right? There was a tribe of people at that time. Oh, it changed my life in an instant.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And nowadays, you know, most parents are like, oh, you can't listen to that. Like, turn that off, change that, you know? Yeah. And, you know, for better, for worse, I think that, you know, the kids are going to listen to it anyway.
Absolutely.
Like the kids are going to find it and
they'll find a way.
Anyway. Yeah.
Just like we did, you know, just because, you know, my mom didn't want me to listen to Ozzy, you know, seeing the Diver Madman cover and that. She's like, oh, you know, and my brother, she's like, Daniel's not allowed to listen to this, right? You know, but I found a way, you know, I snuck in, got that, you know, I got that LP out on that record player and
I think
spun it a million times.
If you, as a parent, I think, you know, and again, like this is all new perspective for me, but like even just with my 7-year-old, like I'm having, you know, really not adult chats, but I'm having with a 7-year-old, I'm having some pretty, you know, grown up chats like, hey, just so you know, like that's not real.
Yeah.
Like that and that and that's not real, just so you know. That's there just for you to laugh or, you know, whatever. And she gets it. She's like, okay, cool. You know,
because she understands, because that's a tough thing right now.
It is.
I got lucky. I got a 16-year-old, and it was before the AI thing. You know, it's like really it's crept in. You know, and she totally understands as the last few years that has really become prevalent. You know, so when she was like 5, 6, 7, it was still pretty tame. Still had to have those same talks as you're saying that you're having with your 7-year-old, right? But yeah, it's not as much as now. Like, you got to vet things and really let them know what's going on here, because there's a line between reality and you know, artificial whatever is pretty thin.
And I think that the part of the thing too is like, you know, I grew up kind of in both sides of it. So I grew up before the internet became prevalent, before Google, before all that.
Yeah.
I also grew up in it and still am in it. And so, you know, I've been able to see this transition into the AI side. And what I think is kind of the weirdest thing that we're living in right now, and of course it's only going to get crazier, but is the fact that I just lost my train of thought because I just told it the world is getting crazy. I read a thing today that Toyota's putting humanized robots in the factory here in Woodstock.
Oh wow!
Anyway,
starting.
Yeah, but yeah, no, fact checking is like that's what I wanted to say is like the difference between before is at least you could go online, you could Google, you could try to figure out. You know, or even before Google, you could go and ask certain people that you trusted their information. You could go and try and find the information. You could fact check. Right now, it's AI is on steroids in terms of the amount of content that's coming out. Yeah. And how do you even begin to know whether something is true, false, real, fake? Yeah. And we're just at the doorstep of this thing.
So I was just going to say, it's just increasing and it's learning from itself, and it's just, you know, you think you kind of understand it and where it's going, and then all of a sudden the goalpost moves, right? And it's crazy.
And what's crazy is for the systems, like the AI systems, it's all real.
Yeah.
To that system, that all of that is real.
Scary.
It's like what the AI is creating or created is as real as the music we're writing to it, right?
To it,
to us, it's like, well, that can't be real. Yeah. That's crazy.
The battle has begun.
But yeah, it's wild. So I think it's anyway. Getting back to what we're talking about, I think that, you know, music. You're right. Like there's definitely there was a period of time where those bands could create not only incredible music and incredible energy and loyal tribal fan bases and all this kind of stuff. You can still do some of that. But what they did and how they did it and what they put together, that was a period of time that is not going to be the same.
No, it won't be the same. I'm just thankful to live through it. It was magic, right? And you got that, and it's in here and it's documented, and out there you can go back and listen to it, and that's what I'm hoping for. You know, the future of music and what's happening is that, you know, the whole AI thing, that it won't become as prevalent as, or more important than that was, right? So, and then we have that, it's in its little capsule, and you can go back into it and feed from that. You know, hopefully, you know, the kids that are coming out and learning instruments or getting into into teching or whatever, you know, that will go back and learn from that, right? Instead of, you know, because as we know, it's almost like taking, I don't know if you've done this yet, but it's, you know, the little AI apps, I kind of have some fun with them, right? Yeah. So take a song, you know, it would be like, I'll do a little riff into my phone on guitar, right? And say, okay, right, you know, a song about wizards traveling through the mountains slaying dragons, right? So whatever, you know, it'll just make up, excuse me, make up the lyrics and stuff, and it does this whole song, and it's, you know, take the MP3 and just feed it back through, right? And for a couple of versions, it's okay, right? Yeah. And then it starts getting really messed up. You know, the more that the AI is reading on top of the AI, you know, so it's like initially, if you use that as a tool and give it a, you know, have it on a bit of a leash, I think it's okay. But the more that it kind of relies on itself, it's just, you hear it, right? And the music starts getting a weird quality to it, and it's. So I found that really interesting. Even with the video and stuff, you see people that, you know, put videos out and asking it to do different things, and more that it's feeding from itself, the weirder and stranger these videos become, right?
Sure.
So that's my hope to, you know, to bookend that. Hopefully, you know, the kids that are coming up go back and learn from the real stuff.
Yeah. And I think they will.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think
fully
so.
believe they will.
I think it just becomes a tool in our toolbox.
Yeah. Hopefully.
That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
So after you discovered these styles of music, where did you go from? Where did it all go from there? Obviously, at some point, high school, and then.
Yeah, well, it was still in grade school, and you know, and digging these bands and doing my little air bands, and you know, grade 5 and 6. You know, it was like, because we do the cardboard cutouts of guitars. You know, the Eddie Van Halen guitar, the Randy Rhoads Flying V, like, you know, and I was like, I got to get a real guitar. I just, you know, this whole emotion and the music and doing little air bands in our garage and stuff. And it's like, I think I want to do this for real, you know? So love of guitar started, and I think it was grade 7? It was 11. I got a guitar for Christmas, and you know, a little Fender Strat copy. And then that was the big shift right there, because I think within probably 3 or 4 months, I was playing some Aussie licks and simple Van Halen.
That's awesome.
Like you really got me, Bonana, the Eddie version, you know, had a little amp and, you know, gain on stun, reverb on full, just get the Eddie sound or whatever, you know, and I could start doing it. So, and that was it. I kind of knew from there, you know, it was like the guitar and music, and wherever that takes me, it's going to be something, you know, and that was at 11, you know.
Wow.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So from there, it was basically just, take a little bit of lessons, but mostly self-taught. And then, and like my buddy that brought over that, you know, the Motley Crue Shout the Devil cassette, he would play guitar too. He started a few months before me. So it was like, obviously we're starting a band, you know, 12, 13. It's like, yeah, okay, we're a band. We just need a drummer and find a singer. And so we started kind of jamming and learning together. And and then actually within about a year, I was starting to get like decent enough that started teaching my older brother bass.
Oh yeah,
right. You know, because he wanted to play drums, but I just don't think it was in him. Right. See, so he got a bass and started teaching him some root notes. I was like, okay, I guess Donnie can play some bass here.
Cool.
Yeah. And then into high school, met a drummer first day of high school.
Oh wow,
my buddy
that's
Steve.
fate.
Yeah, first day we were in electrical class. Well, then we ended up doing music in the second semester, but met him and started talking to him. And he's like, "You look like rock guy or whatever." And I'm like, "Of course, right?" And probably still look like exactly like I do now. You know, just no beard and, you know, a couple zits and
nice
longer hair. And I said, "Yeah, I'm a guitarist, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm a drummer." And he was like, "Yeah, my favorite band's Motley Crue, you know, and Tommy Lee and stuff." I'm like, "You're coming over to my house this weekend," because we had a drum kit.
You're my guy,
right? So
that's cool.
Right into grade 9, started with a band, you know. And it was called Shattered Youth.
Oh, that's actually that's a good name.
It was a kind of cool name. It was a little play on, we were big Skid Row fans. Skid Row had just come out with their first record. So it was Skid Row, Guns N' Roses, Metallica, Motley Crue. That was 91, right? So and Black Album was just about to come out. And so we were just, that was our world, right? So
yeah, man, magic time.
We just started playing all about covers and writing tunes, and that's the thing. That was the start of it all, really, you know? So at that point, it's just like, I wasn't even thinking about the tech side, like, you know, like at all. Like a little bit about recording, because we'd rent like a little 4-track, you know, when we were jamming. We had like one mic over the drums and one on bass and one on guitar, each guitar, right? And so we started doing that right away. So it's pretty early, like that's like 14, you know, started multi-track recording. It's 4-track.
That's cool.
You know, and that's where I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. You know,
absolutely.
Just laying that down and going back, and then on the faders and just doing the levels. I'm like, this is cool too.
Yeah.
I like this a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the bounce down, right?
Yeah.
You know, do the drum,
and then
3 channels of drums, kick, snare, and overhead.
And then you're able to show people too, right? Like what you're doing.
Oh yeah. You know. Yeah.
Which at that age, you know, with high school and everything was huge.
Oh, it was awesome. Oh yeah, we bring the tapes to school.
Yeah.
You know,
of course.
So I was grade 9, bringing the tapes to school, and then grade 10, we actually went into the studio for the real time. It was a Street Brothers studio in Toronto. I don't even know if it exists anymore.
I don't think so. I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, my buddy James' dad brought us in there. Didn't even have a singer. We just wanted to get a good version of our songs, our original songs. So we went down and did like 6 songs. and they mixed it up for us all in one weekend. We basically recorded one day and went down for the mix the next day. And high school on Monday, we're walking like this. And it's like we had all drawn our own. It'd be like Shattered You, like, because we couldn't photocopy. There was no computer stuff, like a little bit, but we didn't have one at home or anything.
Sure.
So it's like we drew our own individual covers. So it's like on these little cassettes with pen, like, and, different colored pen, so
that's awesome.
Steve, he'd have a different one. It's like, oh, what did you do? And, it's like obviously his of a drum kit on fire, and mine was a guitar with bat wings on it.
That's awesome.
So yeah, we had a lot of fun with that. What a time! Like back to that thing about being, it being magical. That's what it was then. And it was just so simple. It wasn't all this magic of now where everything's just you can do anything in on a moment. Like back then, you had to work for it, and
you had to build it, right?
Yeah.
You had to physically build it yourself.
And and it was artful and creative, and you're not just throwing a prompt in the old machine there and getting whatever back, right? So,
and I think there's some because I come from a production background too, and I think there's a layer of what makes us good production people because we had to physically create and troubleshoot things and make things work.
Exactly.
Like we had to make it work. My dad's original company was his slogan was "Makes it happen."
Perfect.
And that was his slogan.
Yeah.
And I when I was a kid, it didn't really make sense to me. And then when I got older and after I had been in the business for a while, I'm like, wow, that was a really smart slogan.
Yeah.
Because it's totally true. The guy, what doesn't matter what position you're in, whether you're front of house or guitar tech or lighting or doesn't matter. If when shit's going down, if you're the guy that can make shit happen and pull things out of thin air and it's like, man, you are irreplaceable.
100%. That's what we're getting paid for. It's not the times that we're doing the, just the regular linear good stuff. It's when shit's going down and you're able to go, okay, that's what we're doing. Fix things promptly
and keep your
calmly, keep your cool, which took me a long time in this industry to do that because it was a lot of F-bombs and a lot of,
yeah, I get that.
A couple of mic cases thrown across the stage, when I was younger, but I'd be by myself and, overworked and whatever. Right. So, but it takes time to learn all that, but I agree, man. It's just, when you're, those formidable years and doing stuff with your hands and you're on your own by yourself or whatever, you learn fast and you appreciate it. And, things are definitely different now. There's still a lot of hard work involved and a lot of thought to go into it and stuff, but it just seems
it's different.
Yeah, it's just different.
It is.
Yeah.
And that's like we said about the music. It's no different with humans and human nature now. It's just we have different tools and different tech and different things. But
exactly.
Like you said, as long as people go back and learn the roots, there's still recording schools out there that teach people about tape.
They should, as they should. 100%.
Because there's literally a few bands recently I've heard of that are running stuff through tape again.
Yeah.
And that means out of the last, let's say, decade, there's only going to be a handful of people that have gone through those specific schools that know how to even use it.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure. It's you think a lot of kids probably ignore that, right? But I think it's a great thing that they still teach that. It's just a foundation. It's just your base level of things, right? You should learn everything about the craft.
Yeah, you should learn the history of if you're getting into something, you got to know where you've come from
anything
to know where you're going.
Yeah, 100%. Great way to put it.
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely. So then what happened after that? Where did the guitar career go?
Yeah. So I think, So in my teens, bunch of different bands. Ended up playing bass for a band for a bit just because they were working like crazy. And that was my big thing. It's like, I want gigs. Because that's the thing, that first band, we didn't know anybody. We didn't even know where to start. It's like trying to get gigs. put on our own shows at the Legion, you know, kind of thing. But how do we get into this scene of, you know, and we're young too. We can't just, you know, go get a gig at a bar, right? So we pushed and prodded at that a little bit. We got a couple of like little bar gigs, you know, kind of sneak in the back door and open for, you know, a little Toronto band that was, you know, on the circuit and stuff. But I definitely wanted more. So I joined a band. It was called Play Dirty. I played bass.
Okay.
Played bass for them. Eventually went on to guitar because I just had to go back to guitar. So we ended up becoming a 2-guitar player band. We played like crazy, like just all over the city, and did like some minor, like kind of touring, but I didn't get any really out of Ontario. I think we did one show in Montreal, one show in somewhere in Michigan and Detroit and stuff. So for at that time being whatever 17-ish, you know,
that's great.
You're thinking you're kind of touring. It's like we're doing it, you know. You think that you know, at the time it was great. We had a blast. From there, after Play Dirty was done, because I at that age too. What was I, 18-ish? That's where the heavier, like hardcore music and grunge and all that stuff and alternative started coming in, right? So I started discovering, like, you know, just the Tool, Pantera, Sepultura, Korn, all that stuff, right? So I'm like, oh, okay, that's, you know, the Skid Row Guns N' Roses thing over here, and let's, you know, let's concentrate on this kind of style. So I greatly changed my style of guitar playing, got much heavier, a little bit more shreddy, and all that stuff. And formed a band called Four Barrel, and we did that for a couple of years.
That's a cool name too.
Yeah, yeah. And it was all, our drummer just said, "Hey, like, it's like we're a heavy band, and it's, you know, it's just, and we jam in a car shop. Like, it was actually my brother-in-law, wasn't then, he is now, and for many years now, but." And my father-in-law and a couple buddies, they had their car shop, you know, and they grabbed a unit, and that had like a mezzanine. So we built a wall, and so we rented the upstairs and jammed up there. And our drummer that we got, John Lord, he said, "Yeah, why don't we call ourselves Four Barrel since we jam in a car shop?" I'm like, "That's perfect."
That's awesome.
It was like 2 days in.
That's cool.
And we wrote like. Yeah, we about two or 3 days into jam. I shouldn't say just full days, like two or three rehearsals in. By that point, we had written 6 or 7 originals and named the band. And we got an offer from a band called Tribal Stomp, who was like kind of the bigger band in the area, to open up at the local club there. So we were basically a band for 3 weeks, and we did an opening slot. I think we did a Pantera cover and 6 of our originals, and we were off to the races for that, with that for a couple of years.
Cool.
And we'll bookend that being the first part of my guitar career by the time I was like 20 and stuff, and just looking at the industry and how it was changing. I'm like, I think I might have to do something else, you know, and branch out a little bit, because, you know, I was still putting in that effort, you know, and because that's the thing at that point. You know, guitar player, and I was teaching and gigging and doing cover gigs and playing that, and with that band, you know, working a music store and all that. So I was doing okay, but I was like, there's more. I think there's got to be more. And if like this doesn't, you know, work out, you know, meaning the band thing, you know, what am I going to do? Yeah. You know, so that's where I really started thinking. That's where we went back to, you know, those times that we spent in the studio, and even back to the 4-track and how much I enjoyed that. And it's like, maybe this is an avenue for me.
Sure.
Right. So, that's that little compartment of time, you know, up to about 20 years old. Cool. Yeah. And then it flipped into the production thing.
And how did that happen? How did you get into production?
Yeah. So, a good friend of mine, Blair Hall, he was in when I was in a band, Four Barrel, he was in a band called Shaft. So the 2 Newmarket heavy metal bands, right? And we became really good friends out of gigging together.
That's cool.
And we started talking, you know, just when we go for beers or coffee after gigs or whatever, you know, we just started talking about recording. We were both recording at like our demos at Newmarket Multimedia with Mike Kerwin, you know, so we had something in common there, and talking about the recording process of that studio, and just started talking about gear and our interest for that. And he was the one who mentioned, he's like, "Man, I think, you know, it'd be cool to go take a course," you know. And at that same time too, my wife, now girlfriend at the time, was kind of just looking around, and she actually found the couple, because I didn't even know where to look at that time, right? So she found like Oyart and Fanshawe and RAC and Metalworks wasn't even around yet, but a few of those schools, like little brochure kind of things, you know,
Yeah.
that she had mailed, you know, to the house.
Yeah.
Right. So I got to thank my wife a lot for that, you know, which she knows. So we found Recording Arts Canada, which was based out of Stony Creek at the time.
That's cool.
And we both went for an interview there because we decided, hey, let's just move to Hamilton. If we get accepted to the school, get an apartment, and we'll just dive into this head on. And that'll get us our foundation and see where it takes us from there. So that was the start of it.
And that was you and who?
My friend Blair Hall. He's a good friend to this day still. And we had, you know, we'll get into a little bit more after, but after school we had, you know, a little studio and that. He ended up moving away, but we've kept connected on projects. Like he's moved back for a little while. He's in the States now, but he moved back and we had the studio like during COVID and that. And we still keep connected. He's a great mixer. Really, really smart, brilliant guy. He's like my go-to guy when I'm, you know, got gear questions and stuff, right? Yeah, so I'm not as like, I'm a gearhead, but not like, you know, the super deep dive like into gear comparisons and stuff like that. Like I always like, and it's probably the wrong thing to do, but I always convince myself I don't have enough time to, you know, we got busy lives and stuff, but to do that deep dive, right? I kind of like, just kind of going around seeing what's popular and it'd be like, you know, trying that. I don't know if I like it. Cool, I'll buy it. You know, like,
yep.
So, but I'll go to him and be like, you know, what do you think? And, you know, of this compressor versus this or whatever. And it's like, I don't even have to dig online. He's like, oh, this one's this and this one's that, you know, in his, you know, in his opinion. And that's kind of a nice little start point, you know, for me.
That's cool.
He's my go-to guy for that.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And so you worked at a production company for a while, right?
I did. So how that all connected, we should go back a little bit. So out of school, I started working at Newmarket Multimedia Studio.
Yep.
That's with Mike Kerwin. And then basically shortly after that is when they started their music school, York Region Music Center. And he had Newmarket Multimedia still. And within a year or two working there, he thought of, since he had me involved and my buddy Blair was still around, it's like, why don't we build a studio, right? Because we had the empty unit beside us. It was just storage.
Okay.
And we were building a studio and acquiring a bunch of live sound gear. So a bunch of Allen Heath consoles. And I think at the time we were using a lot of the Doyle Engineering speakers, right? And because it was all just, you know, smaller shows, just point source stack, you know, kind of thing. So we were just taking minivans out to gigs, and then, you know, we had the little studio in the back as we were building the new one, which ended up becoming Studio 11. So that just, you know, so it was basically teaching guitar and then doing gigs on weekend and then trying to get the local bands in to do little demos and sessions, you know, in our smaller studio as we were big in building the other one up and moving Newmarket Multimedia over to the Studio 11 facility, which we ended up calling it. So we kind of, you know, we had a little tiny project studio, Mike's main studio, which was just in the basement of his parents' house.
Okay.
But done right, you know, built very nice. And just like nice, you know, view out to his backyard, which was just like, you know, like nice little stream and ravine, nice little setting, right? So
cool.
So we took those two little places and combined that into one and built Studio 11 over about a year. So on all the time doing live sound, but on a lower scale, right? Mm-hmm. You know, and normally just going out by myself, like I said, minivan packed to the brim, you know, with gear, you know, with unlimited, you know, whatever, like, you know, 8 microphones and a little rack with 2 compressors and a Ashley graphic EQ. There you go. Yep. You know, one reverb unit, you know, maybe a Rev 7, you know, if we were lucky.
Yep.
You know, so it's so crazy to think about what we did shows with back then.
Oh yeah.
Even there were small scale shows, but it's still a show nonetheless. Yeah. But we made it work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You found a way, right?
Yeah. Cut teeth on that and just made it work. And, you know, so that was the origins of that and starting into live sound.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's the live sound thing is interesting. Like working for a production company. Cause I mean, I did for many years work with my dad and worked in production and, you know, it's a lot, man. Sometimes, you know, like especially in the summertime, as you know, like you don't sleep. Like
festival season,
you know, most people don't realize, but like, you know, we don't start, like the festival starts on Thursday, but we start on Sunday or Monday.
Oh yeah.
Like we're loading in
right out of the last gig. That's Sunday night.
Yeah, like we're starting to load in the stage on Sunday and Monday. And, you know, and lighting goes in on Tuesday, and Wednesday's audio and video, and then Thursday here we go. And then, you know, people just don't see realize all that, right?
Yeah, that truck's not going back to the shop. It's going back into the next site.
That's right.
A couple hours away.
Yeah, yeah. It just goes to the next festival. Yeah. And so it's long days, man. It's a long. It really is. That's something that, you know, you really got to be. Not everybody lasts in production, in the production thing, right? Yeah. There's some that do, and the ones that do, I mean, there should be an award for those people.
Absolutely.
Right. Like I've known even long before me, there was some guys in the GTA that were legends, like had been in the game forever since the 70s and beyond. And like are still in it. And, you know, even up until like, you know, 10, 15 years ago, we're still in it. And I'm like, man, you guys deserve an award. Like it's just people don't have any idea how much of yourself you end up putting into all of that, right? Yeah.
Well, that's it right there, because it's not, and that's why people don't last, because they're maybe looking for a job or something that they kind of like. Yeah. It's not a job, it's a lifestyle, right? Yeah. It's I don't look at this as a job.
It's a good way to put it.
I don't even think of it like that word career or whatever. It's just what I do. It's just a lifestyle, and you're married to it. And that's why it's so hard on the back end, you know, when you have girlfriend, wife, family, whatever, you know, kids, whatever, dogs, you know, why it's so hard, right? Because it's the long hours, and it's not even just the long hours. It's like when you're home, you're thinking about it. Like there's so many times my wife's like, hello, like, Mr. Dan, like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, sorry. Just, you know, I was thinking about, you know, this gig this weekend, and I got an advance email to get out, and I got to, you know, whatever, you know, especially when I was TMing. I'm so much more relaxed now this year. It's crazy.
Yeah.
TMing, it was always like the hamster's always running on that wheel up there. It doesn't stop.
No. And you're, especially if you're doing, you know, stuff in different time zones, you're on other people's schedules all of a sudden. Huge. Yeah. They're calling you at all hours. Yeah. I can only imagine. I never TM'd like that. I mean, I helped a couple of TMs on the road when I was on the road, but you know, thankfully wasn't the TM. Yeah. But I saw, you know, what they had to go through, and the ones that I did work with too were also doing front of house. So doing double duty like that's a lot, man.
Yeah. I don't even know why it ever got invented. But I kind of do, because like the way that the industry changed, like as far as gear, like, you know, like you can do things a lot more efficient and faster now. Right. So it's definitely, you got more time, right? But still, like it's a lot.
And I think depending on the band, I mean, obviously, you know, there's certain bands that make tons of dough and it's great. Yeah. But there's some bands that like they can only afford to take out two guys, guitar tech and a front house guy.
That's exactly it. I was just thinking the same thing. It's just like, you know, especially the last like 15 years ish, how much the industry's changed, and as far as like the revenue that these bands are making, they're not, you know, no one's selling the little round silvery things anymore, right?
You can try,
you can try. But you know,
you're better off trying to sell vinyl now.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, which is cool. I love that that's back a little bit. Yeah, it's great. I got a record player at home. It's my dad's old 1977 Pioneer.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
That's
so cool to have. It's more of a necessity for the artist, right? You know, to have, you know, more of a skeleton crew. You know, especially on that growing scale. You know, there's obviously a certain level, like when you're at like where I kind of sit and above that, there were, you know, you rarely see the front house guy being a TM. Yeah. At that point. But yeah, it's still there. And it's just nature of the beast, you know. Just there's a bit of struggle going on out there, even with those, you know, higher mid bands, you know. Even with the higher bands, there's, you know, I know they're doing okay. It's not the money they used to make, right? So
first band that you did like a major gig with was Platinum Blonde.
Yeah, coming out of being like a house production guy, like Frontier Sound and Light. Yeah. And it's actually, I just left Frontier Sound and Light at that point. You know, I was feeling this was almost my breaking point. It was a little much for me, you know. So I was doing shop management along with operations, and then I was just doing that for a while with them when I came back in. I was getting more familiar with gear and stuff, because back when I was doing live sound the first time, like I wasn't doing rigging and all that stuff, and lighting was like, 4 lights, on a tree.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was, and then I'm walking into a shop that's got truss at the wazoo, and we got, 30 motors and whatever. So I spent that first year kind of getting back into the groove of that and learning more. And this is the thing too. It's like I hadn't been on digital consoles a lot, right? So, and at that time, Mike was just getting into. I don't even think we had any of the Digicos yet. No, we were the first year. I think we still had a bunch of Soundcrafts and Allen Heath. It had like an MH3 and stuff. Those are bigger consoles and big racks. And then we started buying the Digicos, right? So I was like, okay, this is a learning curve. So I was not doing any shows and, and just learning. And then at that point, I started doing shows, after about a year in getting that knowledge. And then I just ran myself dry because I was at the shop all week into the evening, and I got a little baby, 2-year-old baby at home, and then doing a festival, and then heading up a festival down at like Woodbine Park in Toronto for the weekend, or in the beaches doing, TD Jazz Festival or something like that. Right. Sure. And then, it was that year after I was just like, I had to back up. I'm just like, okay, so from that point, when I gave my notice, left, and I didn't know exactly what I was going to do. Right. I had a part-time job, at that point.
When was that about?
So that was 2011.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
So a little bit later, I was already, 36. Right. So, so 2 days after, got a call from a buddy that I used to hire for, a lot of the Frontier Sound Light gigs. John O'Sullivan, Sully. And
Sully,
yeah.
Cool.
And he's like, why? It's like, I heard you left Frontier Sound Light. And he's like, oh man, I loved working with you. And, and I'm like, yeah, sorry. I need a brain break, and I got to kind of reassess what I'm doing. He's like, you want to do monitors, guitar tech for Platinum Blonde? And I'm like, sure. Right. It's cool. just weekend gigs. Right. Yeah. So I was able to work during the week and then fly out with them somewhere in Canada, Friday morning or Thursday night or whatever. And guitar tech and do monitors for them. And then, that's when things really started kind of snowballing for me, and quickly too, because it just started getting out there in the circuit, started meeting all the guys and all, the different bands we were playing with, meeting their management, meeting all the player guys and stuff, and just, being cool, and just, and that's the thing, as we know, and we'll get into it later, like it's half the job is just, being a good dude, out there, and understanding people and knowing that everybody's fighting a battle that you don't know, and having patience and stuff. And once you get in the groove of that, you become friends with people quickly, and gain trust really quick. Right. Yeah. So that's where it started snowballing with them. Yeah. Platinum Blonde guys were fun,
That's cool.
Just monitors and guitar tech at the same time, but it was, so with the double duty again, that was the start.
That's interesting.
Yeah. That was the start of the double duty, but like they had one main guitar each and then backup. Right. So bad. Sometimes I didn't even look at the guitars until they were done. It's like, thank you. And that was it.
Yeah. That's not,
that's not even guitar tech. It was guitar hand offer. Like, it's like, I wasn't even like
the guitar handler.
Yeah. I don't even think I tuned it. I think Serge came up and he tuned it for the show.
That's
like,
awesome.
Cool. Thanks, bud. So just concentrated on monitors, so.
And then after Platinum Blonde,
yeah.
Where did it go from there?
That was my first tenure with April Wine.
Okay.
So that was end of 2014. And call out of the blue from Miles Goodwin.
Wow.
Oh, sorry, a Facebook message. Hey, Dan.
Facebook message.
That's
awesome.
It's Miles Goodwin from April Wine. Here's my phone number. Can you please give me a call?
Oh, wow.
I'm like, cool.
How did he find out about you?
So this is, I got this gig so out of the blue. It's crazy. I did a gig for a guy named Mike Harvey, and he was
I feel like I know
Harv. He's a Cambridge area guy.
Yeah. Okay.
And he was lighting LD for April Wine. Early 90s.
Yeah. That's where I work with
for 4, 5, 6 years, I think.
Yeah. Right. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. So he, I guess his system tech that he had booked, couldn't do a gig for him. It was like a week away, and it was Coney Hatch and Gatto, I think.
Crazy.
And he's like, he finds me. Actually, it's John O'Sullivan again. It's like, you know, a guy in that area called Dan Preston. He could probably help you out. He was out. I think Sully was out with Honeymoon Suite or something like that. So
That makes sense.
So I ran down to Cambridge. Gave up another gig for it because he was in a bind. So I was able to hire, because I was working for Frontier at that point. I was able to hire somebody else to basically be at the shop. And I went and did this gig for him and kicked some ass for him that day. Got the PA all hooked up. You know, it's cold. I didn't know their systems and stuff, right? So got their PA all hooked up. I had a helper. An old Yamaha M7, I think, console.
Nice.
Which I hated. And I'd only been on one like once or twice.
I think we still have one in the warehouse we can't give away.
Right. It's a coffee, you know, it's a coffee table, right? Yeah, God, I hated those consoles. But
they were not user friendly.
no, they were not.
No,
But that's the start of digital, especially
It was,
especially the Yamaha stuff. Like they've come a long way now. It's like with the Rivage and all that stuff and the DM series and stuff.
Everybody had to start somewhere.
Of course, right? But yeah, so the gig went great, so. He gave me a call, or actually another Facebook message, probably about a month later. And it's like, hey, what's your schedule like? What are you doing? There's a fairly busy Canadian band that's looking for a tour manager, front of house guy. And it's like, I'm fairly open. It's like, I'm out with Pine Blonde. It's like, I'd actually return to Frontier a little bit, you know, just to do shows, not at any of the managerial stuff like shop or operations or anything like that. So I'm busy enough, but I'm always looking for other opportunities, right? And months went by. I didn't hear about anything. And it's like, okay, whatever. You know, I don't even know what band it was. He didn't even say what it was. And then I got that message from Miles, right?
Oh, wow.
Like, right away, I'm like, that's it. It was April.
That was that. Yeah.
Right.
Wow, that's cool.
So, yeah, I got on the phone with him.
2014?
2014. Yeah, around Christmas time. Yeah, December 2014. And chatted for a good couple hours, you know. Not even all about music stuff. It was just about family.
That's really
and
cool,
just
actually.
Life stuff.
That doesn't normally happen, does it? Like that.
That's the thing.
Like 2 hours on the phone with the singer of the band. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. First time talking to him 2 hours.
Yeah.
And
shows you what kind of guy he was, right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's the thing. He was very analytical guy. He wanted to know all about you as fast as he could, so he can learn to trust you or not. Because that was a big thing with him. Like, because he's a good judge of character. You know, I really feel he was a very good judge of character. You know. And he'd give you the gears, right? You know, you wanted to really make sure that you were on the up and up, because if you felt anything weird about you, you could see it. You know, I could see when I became the tour manager and the people that would hang around and stuff, right? You know, you could see it. You could see them do the side eye at people or look over at me and just go, you know, like
I've seen this happen.
This guy's got to go.
I've literally seen this happen on stage. I've seen him do it.
Oh, yeah.
That's hilarious.
That makes me laugh.
I do want to make mention of the fact that he is part of the catalyst that started this show.
Interesting. How so?
I had the idea to do this show, and it was, I had a couple ideas, and they were both slightly different than what this ended up being.
Yeah.
But it was weird. One day I was in my office, and once in a while, this was a number of years ago now, obviously, once in a while I would kind of wander out into the showroom and just chat with the guys. And one of the guys that worked here at that time before he retired was Boris Novosel. And Boris always, you know, was just a great guy to just hang and chill and talk to. And so I walked into the showroom that day, and I could tell something was off.
Right.
And now, you know, backstory, obviously, you know, Boris was in a band in the 90s called Blue Bones with a guy named Gordy Pryor. Gord Pryor.
I remember that.
Yeah, Gord Pryor was on I had him on the show. He had an earlier episode on the show. Gord was really good friends with him. And so there was a show that happened here in town. It was just like a you know, speaking thing where he would speak and talk and tell stories and
like a songwriter session thing.
Yeah. And they did it not too far from here, just down the road. And it's funny because Boris literally lives across the street from the golf course that hosted it.
Okay.
And so he walked there and and this had happened not long before he had passed. And so I was supposed to go. We were doing sound for it. One of my guys was mixing, and I was supposed to go. I didn't end up going.
Right.
And it was kind of my Prince moment. There was a time when Prince played here at Budweiser Gardens.
Yeah.
My wife said, we should go. And I went, let's go the next time.
Yeah.
There was no next time.
And
so this was another one of those moments is that, I was like, I'll go see him next time. And because something came up. And anyway, I went into the store that day and something was off. Boris was something was weird. And I said, hey man, what's going on? He goes, you hear Miles Goodwin passed?
Yeah.
I mean, we're in the music biz. People come and go all the time. But that one, for some reason, because of how much I had done with April Wine over the years, with the production company and, supplying sound and light, and just, it was weird, like I can't think of a time where, I realize Jerry Mercer hasn't been in the band in years, but that's like that version, that 90s version of the band that I worked with, that's what's like in my mind.
Yeah.
So when he said that, I went, wow.
Yeah.
And there's like a part of me that thought that like those guys would tour forever.
Yeah.
With him.
Of course, because they've just been around forever.
Yeah.
I just think it's going to go constantly.
And
with him.
And it was like a ton of bricks almost. It was like, wow, he's gone. And I went back to my office. So we talked, about that and about other things. And then I went back to my office and I went online and I tried to look up interviews, like stories and stuff like about him. And I could hardly find anything that was out there.
Interesting, eh?
Right. And it was like, and I found some stuff, but it was like, it wasn't like this. It wasn't the whole journey. It wasn't like, and it bugged me a lot.
Yeah.
Because here's a band that I've worked with countless times. They've played in countless cities in this country.
Yeah.
They've given so much of themselves, and their music has done so much for people.
Yeah. Absolute legends. Right?
And that's gone.
Yeah.
It's just vapor now.
Yeah.
You can't go and interview them and get that story and this journey and this road stories and the journey and the history. It's gone.
Yeah.
And it freaked me out for a second. I was like, wow, this, how can this be?
Yeah.
How can this be that we're not doing this? And then I took it a step further, being, of course, having been a lighting guy and a DJ and other things, I went, wait a minute, like nobody's getting this opportunity.
Right.
We're not documenting any of it really, like properly. And we're certainly not giving light to people in the front of house positions necessarily, right? Yeah. Like there's things go happen in the States, right? Like there was like, there's different, groups and chats and things that happen in the States.
That's ever growing. It's getting more and more.
Yeah,
for sure.
But really when it comes to Canada, there wasn't at the time when I was looking around, there just wasn't something that I felt was proper. And so anyway, it was at that moment that I decided to do it. I decided, we have to do this show.
That's great, man.
And it came out. That was, again, he was the catalyst that started all this.
That is a cool little piece of knowledge. That's great. I'll tell the guys when I see them tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
And I'd love to have them on at some point.
Sure,
too.
yeah. Well, they're all excited that I was doing that, right? Because they love us getting recognition and stuff. That's great. You guys should be down there doing that.
Yeah, so, absolutely. You should be.
It's just fun, I started doing it. It's because this kind of thing's out of my wheelhouse, right? That's why I'm not on the stage. I'm behind there now because it's my comfy spot.
Yep.
But it's cool to do this stuff, right? And be able to put our names out there a little more, and just like lead to some opportunities that maybe not happen, and just it's great to talk about our careers because it's like there's a lot of passion here. There's a lot of stories, right? It's worth it, and it's just it's worth it to get it documented, and it could be knowledge for any young guys and girls coming up in the industry and help them. It's just great all the way around.
Yeah. And that's another big part of why I did it, right?
Awesome.
Because we were coming out of COVID and everybody was in these silos and disconnected and I felt that too, and I was like, you know what, we need to bring people back together again.
100%.
And I think this show can do it. And I think this show can we can bring the people like yourself who are out there who are doing this, and we can break down some of these walls that are up there that people are, at least the walls that people think are up there, and bring some of the truth and bring some of the connection.
Yeah.
You know, let people
100%.
know who you are and how to get a hold of you and what
Yeah.
you're up to. And who knows, man, like it's like one of those things like Sully did for you. Maybe you do for someone else all of a sudden.
Yeah. Which I've started to do, right? I'm getting into a little more later in my tenure of doing this and, you know, getting into that spot, you know, a little sweet spot and being able to give opportunities to some younger guys now, which is great. I love doing that. You know, it's very fulfilling starting to all happen now the last 5 years, right? Getting out of COVID, you know, some younger guys, you know, I got, you know, the camps that I'm working with. It's great, you know?
Yeah, man. And I've had, even just recently, I had Slipper on, I had Brendan on, like
all my buds.
Those guys are all throwing work around. Like there's tons of work to go around for the guys that can do it.
Between those 4 guys, you know, well, myself and those 3, like Jeff and Slipper and BK, it's like we've all worked in the same band. Like Slipper gave me the job with Big Rack. We can get into because he was there with Corb Lund.
That's right.
He's like, "Can you cover this tour for me?" And I was like, "Big Rack, absolutely. I love being like, love that band, right?" So, which we can talk a lot about them. Oh God, I love that band so much.
We're going.
So, yeah, well, we're going.
We're going there.
But yeah, and then Pelche's there now, right?
Yeah,
he's
that's
there
right.
with them, and he's kicking ass with them. You know, that guy, man, he's such a good mixer.
He's such a good dude.
Oh, he's a great dude.
Mixer.
Yeah, and his skills of you know, going back to phase 1 and stuff, and just the little talks that we have about audio and stuff. He's so knowledgeable. Way more than me. You know,
well, hey,
but,
man.
Hey, I got my thing and I know I'm good.
That's what he decided to sink himself into, right?
Exactly.
That's his journey, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody's
He's the deep
different.
diver guy that I was talking about earlier. Like, just like, yeah, he's a super deep dive guy, you know?
Yep. Totally.
Yeah.
So, April Wine, 2014.
Yeah.
The first stint.
Yeah. My first tenure there.
Yeah.
That was till about 2018.
Yeah. Okay, so that was a good run.
Yeah, exactly. It was about 4 years, and then starting to work in, still doing Platinum Blonde in between that, as much as I could, and finding a sub for that. So I was busy enough, and then April Wine was a little bit slower that year, like getting into 2018, early 2018. And I could feel it that it was going to be a bit of a slower year. I don't think it was by design or anything, but it was just, you know, so I was kind of looking around, and I ended up getting a full-time job as production manager at the Phoenix Concert Theater.
Oh, wow.
And that was through Zeke Myers, who was Mike Kerwin's partner back in the day. And
I know that name too.
Yeah. Mike was Frontier Sound and Light.
Yep.
You know, and through that, Zeke being part of the Phoenix, he was also acting manager for both Finger Eleven and I Mother Earth at the same time.
Oh, that's what it was.
Right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
he's like, I would love to have you here as my guy at the club, and then, you know, on the bigger tours and stuff, I can send you out with, you know, with both bands and get them TM in front of house. So it was a really busy year because it was a crossover year. I was still kind of with April Wine, so I was TMing April Wine, TM front of house for Finger 11, TM front of house for Our Mother Earth, and production manager at the Phoenix.
That's insane. Like, dude, that's crazy.
I don't even know how I did it.
I don't know either.
Actually, I shouldn't even say that because I don't think I did it. You know, like, you know what I mean? And I'm thankful for those people putting up with my craziness, because it's like I was so scattered, you know, and I did my best. And I think I did a good job, but was I efficient at each and every one? No. You know, and that's when at the end of that summer, I had to back out from April Wine. It's like I got, you know, I'm just too busy. You know,
what was that? The summer of 2017?
It was 2018.
2018.
That whole year, basically. You know, well, until about the fall, because then things changed drastically at the end of 2018 because of what we were just saying, it being too much. I actually took on top of all that, I took on some sub gigs doing monitors for 3 Days Grace.
Oh, wow.
On top of all that.
That's crazy.
Smart, eh?
Yeah, right. That's wild.
It's nuts. I don't even know how I was able to do it.
So there's
it's just the schedules kind of worked out. And then,
well, if it does, then you're like, okay, yeah, I'm in, right?
Yeah.
Like you want the experience, you want the connection, like it's a good opportunity. I get it,
100%. You know,
but that's crazy.
It was nuts. I was so scatterbrained. I think that led to a couple of brain cells dying off. You know?
When you were still able to drink like crazy.
Yeah. What's that?
When you're still able to drink like crazy.
Yeah. You know, that's probably what started my little problem I had into COVID.
Well, I get that.
You know, it was a little much at that time. That's for sure. So so I started backing off on some things after that. So when I got when I started subbing in for 3 Days Grace, I started going really well that summer. Right now, it was just a sub. Right. And the guy was like, you know, you're welcome back anytime, you know, kind of thing. I'm like, that's great. You know, so I've always loved those guys. It was like that hometown band they always rooted for. You know, it's actually a funny story. Like when I was in a band called Clark Nova, which sucked me back into the industry as I'd been out for years. Right. So I started touring again as a guitar player. And we met the 3 Days Grace guys. This is 2001, 2002. And they were just going and, you know, their songs just starting to get on radio. Like I Hate Everything About You was just starting to take off. Yeah. And we had a couple of tunes on radio, Edge 102, kind of a little bit parallel thing.
Oh, that's crazy.
You know, we were doing some shows with them, but then they just went off into the stratosphere and we just kind of stayed there, which is whatever, you know. But I remember the gigs that we played like 3 shows with them that summer, you know, really liked them. I thought they were a super solid band. And it's funny because I've toured with them both 3 Days Grace later and Adam with Saint Sonia. You know, I was their TM front of house the last few years, just before we went back. And I told them both, I was like, you know, it's like those shows, this is like, I would watch the show, and no offense to my Clark Nova brothers or anything, but I would be at front of house watching the show. And it's like, remember that like one show we were on some festival and played with I Mother Earth and them and Clark Nova. And I just looked at it and I was like, I'm in the wrong band. You know, because I love their tunes so much, right? And just thought it was cool. They were just Peterborough guys, right? And it was just like hometown boys. So I've always rooted for them and always, you know, and we became friends pretty quickly, you know. So seeing them, you know, years later, and then just becoming like their monitor guy, right? And it's like, hey, do you remember band Clark Nova? Right. And it's like, yeah, of course we do. Right. And it's like, yeah, I was a guitar player. And they're like, that's crazy.
That's
it was so neat. Like full circle moment, you know?
That's
so I got to do the individually. So with the band with Matt, you know, when Adam wasn't there. And then when I started working with Adam later as a tour manager in front of house, told him that story too. And he's like, that's crazy that you're in Clark Nova.
Yeah. You know? That's so cool.
So neat. So
I mean, you know what?
Deep connection there with those guys for sure.
Man, it's this industry is literally 2 degrees of separation.
Totally. Yeah, I think even less. You know,
I think you're right.
Yeah,
like I think
1%,
especially now with the connect, like the whole social media and like the whole connect, like able to just reach out, like the fact that you know in 2014 Miles Goodwin reached out to you by Facebook, right? Like there's a telltale right there.
Crazy.
Let alone the fact that we're now 12 years later. You know what I mean? And all this additional communication and connection and technology and so it's like there's totally it's probably you're probably right. It's probably less than 2.
The gap is narrowing every year.
So that being said, Jared, you want to bring up the photos? The bottom folder.
Time.
The bottom folder.
Yeah.
These photos have not seen the light of day. So I also did some stuff with Finger 11.
Yeah.
And go to the third. There we go.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So there's me doing lights on a show.
Nice.
I don't even know where it was. I think maybe somewhere in Ontario.
Yeah.
And so, I had up until that point, I had done a lot of, you know, one-offs and small runs and stuff like that. But these guys took me, you know, into the States and took me all over Canada. So that was awesome.
Awesome. I didn't know you were out with the guys.
Yeah, I was out.
Aren't they the best?
Oh, it's awesome.
They're the nicest guys ever. They're
totally.
Coolest dudes.
Yeah, man.
Totally. They're still high school buddies. Like, they act like that and they rib each other like that too. You know,
there was, that speaking of hometown.
Yeah.
So that was Hamilton.
Right.
Hometown show. And I was in charge. I won't tell the whole story, but I'll tell part of the story.
Yeah.
I was in charge of Rich. So I was Rich's tech / lighting guy.
Right.
And it was Rich's birthday.
Right. Okay.
And so
what year was this?
I want to say 08 or 09.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So
awesome.
it was it was, let's just say it ended at his house. We got him home. All I remember, and I'll never, I mean, not all I remember lots, but I won't tell it all. But all I'll say is at the end of the night, I just remember he was sponsored by Sabian, I believe.
Right.
And they had given him a gong. And he had this gong, and at the end of the night, we had ordered pizza, and the pizza came, and we at his house, and the pizza came, and the pizza guy showed up, and all I remember is he was feeling real good to the point where he just started hitting his gong.
Oh,
gong.
What time is it? Like,
I don't know. Yeah, 4 in the morning. Like it was, whatever. And I'll never forget the guy. I mean, he's a legend.
Yeah.
I love Rich and Rich Bedeau. Shout out, man. And had some really awesome times with him and all the guys. Shout out to all the boys. They're all fantastic dudes. And but that was a fun gig.
Yeah, my tenure was after Rich a little bit, so I've only just worked with Steve, right?
Yeah, with Steve.
Rich, we met like Clark Nova toured with Rich a little bit. So when I was doing sound for Clark Nova before I was a guitar player, and we had a great time.
Yeah, man.
Invited us on the bus. Yeah, it was for drinks.
So I only put certain photos. So this photo I put up because this was the water skiing championships that we did outside of Calgary.
Yeah,
and it was insane. Go to the third photo. Not the
funny.
Next.
At first, I thought that was a downstage or something. It looked like a clap stage.
So you can't really tell from that photo, but we have to take a boat to get to the stage.
Right.
The stage is an island in the middle of the water.
Yeah. Did that
and
on
they
Toronto Island
ski
before.
around us.
Yeah.
Right?
Neat.
And now I don't know about the rest of the guys, but I wasn't told that this was going to be a thing before we got there. Right.
Amazing.
So this was a pretty wild experience for me.
Sure.
My first, island stage, having to boat over. So that was a good one.
That's cool.
And and then is there one more? No, that was it. Yeah. So then the bottom one was we were somewhere, I think, in Montana.
Yeah.
If you go back to the one with the bus, we were somewhere in Montana, and we
good old fart tube right there.
Yeah, we fell asleep. And we woke up, and when we woke up, it was our day off, and we woke up and we were in a parking lot.
Yeah.
And we got up and rolled off the bus, and I was like, oh, there's another. That wasn't our bus. That was behind us. And we're like, yeah, there was 2 buses that were there as well, randomly. And we're like, oh. And it's like some random, I don't even know what hotel. It was some random hotel. Yeah. And we just pulled over. The driver had pulled over because he needed to sleep and pulled over. And we woke up in the morning and there's this bus sitting there. And I guess one of the guys must have wandered over and was talking to the crew and was like, oh, whose bus is, that's Kid Rock.
All right.
Like, what are the odds that we're like, in the middle of who knows what Montana, and we pull into some random parking lot hotel for the bus driver to sleep, and Kid Rock's crew is in the parking lot with us.
Yeah.
So there was some. Anyway, I just picked a few random ones. There was some good times with those boys, man.
Yeah.
I miss those guys.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'll get some of them on the show at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm actually going out with them in a few weeks after the Saper Wine run is
Oh,
done.
that's cool.
It's doing their it's them and Filter.
Yeah.
Doing a run in the States, and Ryan Schroeyens, they're normal guy now. He's been with them for a long time too. He was before me, and we just call, you know what I mean? It's like the hopscotch thing. So he's back with them now, but he's got to go out with the Arkells for a couple of weeks. So I'm going to cover the first 2 weeks of the tour, and he covers the last 2 weeks. So
yeah, I missed because I was doing lighting, right? I missed doing lights for a bunch of these bands, man. It was fun times.
Yeah,
it was super fun.
Oh man, I love
Thornley's another one.
Oh my god,
I've said it on a couple of the episodes recently. Like one of my most favorite bands to do lights for sure.
Oh, because that palette, there's so many
dude.
Think of audio colors, like that to match to that. It's crazy. Like. Yeah, I could imagine. I can just imagine. I've never thought about that. It's just kind of going through my head right now of like doing lights for them, like what you could do, right?
Man, Finger 11 was awesome.
Yeah.
Thornley was awesome. Not Good was awesome.
Yeah.
Spirit of the West was just a riot. It was just a full-on party.
Yeah. Yeah, big time.
So many of these bands
cool.
were great. Great Big Sea. Great Big Sea was a cool band to work with too. It's just a big party, There was kind of 2 sides of it. There was the artistic side of it.
Yeah.
And then there was like the party side of it.
Belly up to the bar, let's go.
Yeah.
Side of it for sure.
And the other 2 degrees or less of separation was Al Vermew.
Yeah.
Used to work here.
Used to work here?
Used to work for my dad.
No way.
Years ago.
I never knew that.
Years ago.
Yeah.
And so at one point, you know, obviously my dad and my brother have been building up that part of the company.
Yeah.
And, you know, so at one point they connected and he said, yeah, I'll give you guys a shot. And, gave us we did a tour package for them for a year or so, year or two, for, you know, their whole run for the US, Canada, the whole thing. And, yeah. And it was a great experience for my brother because my brother was kind of, you know, ops for my dad and sort of spearheading all that. And it was great. And, you know, and at the time it was cool because, you know, they came in and did a bit of their pre-production in our warehouse.
Cool. Yeah.
And I got to kind of see some of that too at that level,
always
right?
neat to have those bands be around to see what, you know, how they tick and see what they're doing.
And it was cool because the lighting guy that they had, I never really got to meet him. Unfortunately,
was that Mikey Filsinger at the time?
No, it wasn't Mike. Oh, if it was Mikey, I would have known because I've worked with Mikey lots.
Yeah, right.
No, I don't think it was. I don't know who it was actually. I never got to meet him because he wasn't around when I was around the warehouse. I was only there a couple of times because I don't work in that building. But what was cool is that he was like, yeah, I want an Avo. And I'm an old school Avo guy. Like I started on an Avo in '97.
Right. Okay.
And so I'm an old school Avo guy. I still own an Avo.
Yeah.
And a Pearl. And that I use and I love it. And anyway, I mean I'll use any other console too, but
sure.
I still love my Avo. But anyway, he was like, yeah, I want an Avo. So my dad bought an Avo Diamond console.
Right.
You know, the console is like, you know, half the cost of a Digico 338. Like it's like, what? You're buying a $80,000-$90,000 lighting console?
Let's go.
Awesome. Let's go. Avo lighting console.
Yeah.
Because I mean the Grand Amaze are up there too.
Yeah,
but,
big time.
but for Avo, I was like, wow, that's a big investment for Avo for us. That's awesome.
Like 5 Christmases in one.
I'm excited to maybe even go do some gigs this summer just so I can use it.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so anyway, we did some stuff with them and got to see Al again. I hadn't, you know, I mean, I met him when I was probably this high.
Right.
Right. Way back when. Of course, you don't remember that as a kid, you know, from being a kid. But awesome. That whole camp is just killer.
Yeah.
Like just totally, you can tell they're like family, man. It's,
for sure.
It's awesome.
Yeah. No, Al's a great guy, man. It was talking about him. He was another cold call too, out of the blue, and I think it was through Sully again. Yeah, let me remember this properly. Man, I gotta give him a call and thank him. You know, well, he knows.
I was just gonna say that.
I've thanked him many times over the years. You know, yeah. So I guess through Saga, Mikey Filsinger was doing Saga, and he was 3 Days Grace guy at the time too. Yeah. So they were looking for a monitor guy to do that fill-in thing, and I talked to Sully. Sully said, "Get Dano, right? It'll fit in with the guys great." And that was that whole connection too, right? So, and that's what, then Al called me. So right at the end, and this is what's crazy. Like when I think back at stuff, I don't think of what I do of being like fate and chance and stuff. But as I start putting it all together, I really realize it's like, this is some of these, like, how does this all line up like this, right? But there's a co-headline tour, Finger 11, I'm Mother Earth. I was out basically taking care of the whole tour, taking care of both bands. We had Todd Cutler doing sound for I'm Mother Earth, but I was doing Finger 11.
I know Todd.
Yeah, Todd's
great guy,
lovely human being, amazing mixer. But I was kind of heading up, production managing, tour managing, doing sound for Finger 11. Well, the tour really wore me out, right? Really wore me out.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, you know, accounting till 3 a.m, and then,
get it.
You know, having a beer and then going to bed and waking up at 6 just because, you know. But anyway, you know, so that tour was ending, and no word of a lie, we were taking the band's gear, put it on skids. We were at the Global Motion Warehouse in Vancouver. You know, so we're doing that. The buses are driving away empty with no guys on it, nothing in the trailers, and it's almost just like, you know, it's like the long goodbye, right? And like thinking about the tour, and I'm just looking at the buses, and I'm like, man, it's like, I can't wait to get home, just kind of shake this all off or whatever.
Yeah.
And the bus turns around the corner, phone rings.
Oh, wow.
Right? And I look at it, not a Vancouver number, don't know who it is, whatever. I'm like, okay, it's got to be probably something important, you know, it could be one of the guys in the warehouse, I got to sign off on something. Hello. It's like, hey, Dan, Al from you, 3 Days Grace, TM front of house.
Oh, geez.
Right? And I'm just like, oh, hey, cool. You know, what's up? He's like, just, you know, came recommended through Mikey Philsinger told us, you know, that, you know, to give you a call. You know, we need a sub guy. So his guy at the time, I think, was it Sean? I don't know who was actually doing the monitors at the time, but had some other engagements to fulfill. So he couldn't do the summer gigs. So he's like, hey, can you fill in the summer for us, right? Here are the dates. And I was just like, right away, I just saw that. And I'm not a big runner, but I just saw that as okay, because I got to switch gears. Because that last year, as I was saying to you earlier, you know, I'm on the Earth Finger 11, still April Wine. I think I was squeezing in, you know, Phoenix gigs and Platinum Blonde, too much. Wow. So I just found it's like, you know what, this summer, I'm just going to go do that, you know, and I'm just going to take a little break here, you know. So I ended up doing, monitors for them, and Al brought me in. He's a big champion of mine. It was like right away, just after the talks on the phone, we're just talking about, you know, just audio processes and stuff. And he's like, I'm excited for this. Like, I'm excited to bring you in here. Right. And he was very helpful in getting, you know, settled with the guys and stuff. Right. You know, because guys can be picky. They want to have what they got. And I wasn't getting things, you know, right away. And he was like, he'd come in with me and try some stuff or whatever. You know, we're trying different time alignment stuff, because they were the time too. 3 days, guys were on single ear and wedges and side fills.
Oh,
right.
Interesting.
So it was a challenge. It was a big challenge. So we were doing a lot of like time alignment stuff. Yeah. You know, because I was delaying side fills stuff and trying to get that just right. You know, and thinking about their movement and stuff too, because this guy, you know, it was just Matt at the time. Adam obviously wasn't back yet, and Matt ping ponging all over the place and out on thrusts, and you know, so it was a lot, right? So Al was so helpful for that, because we did do the big evolution tour with Disturbed and all that. That's actually when I became the actual full-time guy for that year. But yeah, so it was big challenges, and he helped me so much. Yeah, I think if I didn't have his, you know, his backing and his help, the guys probably just would have moved on, right? Because there was just a lot of stuff to take care of, right? Sure. So like, you know, I'm more of a front of house guy, you know, and I just I feel like I've always been that way. So like the kind of monitor thing is, we know, you know, it's a totally different game.
Oh, absolutely,
100%, right?
Yeah.
So you know, I think I got that gig and stayed at that gig based on merit of just being a, you know, good dude and being, you know, becoming friends with them right away, and them just wanting to make, you know, just like, yeah, let's just go through the motions and stuff, and we're willing to play ball here and let Dan be Dan. And you know, I remember Barry always saying that, big bearded Barry, he's like, can we let Dan be Dan? It's like, you know, like it's like, you know, it's like, I don't even know if I know what that is yet in this realm. So
well, at least he's giving you the chance to figure it out.
Exactly, right? So I just remember he said that like 5 times, and things would get a little like, you know, whatever. But yeah, I love being out with them. I love being with Val. They got a great crew. Trevor there is great. Colin on drums, and like just is a wonderful camp of guys. Great crew. Yeah, you know, it's just guys that I would work with anytime. You know,
I got that vibe, man. I would. I mean, I only spent that one afternoon. I was in the building there, but like when they were doing pre-production at the shop. But man, I just got that vibe. Like the wives and the girlfriends were there, and everybody was there, and it was like it was just chill. Yeah, man. It was great.
Yeah, and they were around a lot. And, you know, and they've expanded the crew out now. And now they got Hoogie. Everybody knows who.
Oh yeah, right? Well, Hoogie was out with us that whole time when I was out with Finger.
Right. Yeah, he was a big Finger 11 guy, and then so Hoogie's out with him now doing guitars for Barry, and then Kale, which is Adam's cousin, which is the bass player for Santa Sonia as well. Lovely guy. Call him and Adam, the Gonches, call them Team Elegance. Because they just they're like rock star guys, but and they're this Peterborough, you know, whatever, you know, like you're rough and tumble rock guys. But there's a thing that I don't know. It might be just a Gonche family and stuff. Like there's an elegance to them. I think I don't know. There's a lot of, you know, family pride and how they look at music in the industry and stuff. They just look at it, you know, with a lot of elegance. You know, it's not so, you know, just, you know, dirty rock, you know, and just rough and tumble. Right? They're you know, they carry themselves with some poise, and I love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I love seeing that. It's just, you know, it kind of takes it out of that. You know, guys that can go up there and just rock out and sweat it out and be rough, and then just, you know, they're just calm, really collected, cool, chill guys on the outside. And that's who I want to work with. That's who I want to be doing this, right? Doing the tent side. So it's great to find those guys like that and nickname them things that they may not really like. I think they took it pretty good. It was like Team Elegance. It's like, yeah, you guys are elegant. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So,
and then where did the Trews come in?
The Trews came in.
Is that after?
It was no. Yeah. So with 3 Days Grace, I left that, gave them a lot of notes. They were doing the European tour starting in a couple of months, and I really wanted to get back to doing front of house. Right. I just felt like monitor's not my position of choice. It doesn't feel the same in my heart. Like, to be honest about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. I feel, well, again, to look at where I came from is it's just being a guy up on deck, on stage and playing and feeling that, and feeling that feeling from the audience. So I feel like monitors not that I feel, it just is. It's more isolated from the audience and more focused just on the band and stuff. And I just, that feeling I have when, we're rocking a show and I'm out in the middle of the crowd is very similar to the joy and the passion, the excitement I felt when I was up there doing big shows, playing guitar. Yeah,
you're in that right? That connection, right?
Yeah.
Between the band and the audience still when you're in front of house. Yeah.
Exactly. So if I entered the industry differently, if it wasn't coming from a place of musicianship and being a guitar player and performing and stuff, it might have been different. It might have been like, yeah, whatever, just do front of house monitors, don't care. But my heart's at front of house for sure. 100%.
I get that.
I think I'm just better at it, like than front of house than monitors.
I'd be the same. Like if somebody said, "Hey, I need you to be be my L2," you know, I not at this point.
No,
I couldn't.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to be behind the console.
Yeah,
for sure,
100%. And there's some merit to that's a great feeling. A band coming off the deck and fist pumping and saying mix sounded great. I love that too, right? But it's nothing like, sets ending, bands walking off stage and you see people going out to the concession stand and, saying that was amazing. Or it's like, they're going to come to me. It's like, sounded killer. There's nothing like, I almost get tears in my eyes over that. Just some random person saying it sounded killer. Yeah. It's just, I love it.
Yeah, I know. Me too. I'd get people coming up to me after certain gigs that I would do, and I would program for 8 hours straight, and then somebody, a handful of people would come by front of house on their way out the door and be like, "Man, that was the best, amazing light show," and in some weird way, it made it worth it even that much more.
Absolutely.
The fact that people took the time to even acknowledge the fact that I was a lighting guy and that it cared, that they cared.
Yeah,
it's great.
Bringing joy to the masses, buddy.
Yeah,
that's it. It's a huge part of it.
Yeah,
it's not just the band being thankful for you and them trusting you. It's
which is great all in of its own.
Of course, it's a big portion of it. That's why you keep the job. And where it makes it fully enjoyable is those people going home happy.
Yeah.
And their ears not bleeding and their eyes pleased from a lovely light show.
That's right.
That's it.
So after the monitor gig, then you got a call to go out with to cover the Trews?
No, yeah. So I went, from 3 Days Grace, I went into the Trews that summer.
Yeah.
And I was doing some festival gigs.
Front of house, obviously.
Did front of house and TM.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'd already done, at that point too, I think I'd done a couple filming gigs for Big Rec, right? So I was there with Trews. I was like their full-time, like full guy, That's when Slipper called me and like that during that summer. And he's like, I'm kind of double booked, and he wanted to do the Corblund thing and still remain, like he was Big Rec's like road manager, tour manager. And he's like, I'm gonna basically, advance the whole tour and just, can you step in and road manage in the fall? And I was like, absolutely. So definitely took that opportunity because I was like, okay, they already started advancing this thing. I was getting a little tight. It was only 2 months to the tour. When he first called me, I was like, oh man, I don't think there's enough time to advance this. It's only a couple of months, but he's like, no, we're already underway. I just need you to road manage, get you involved in the tail end of the advance, and then just take it from there. So I took that on, and I think to this day it's still my favorite tour I've done.
Oh yeah.
It's just there was a lot of firsts, I think, for the whole camp in that, because I was obviously new. I brought in Kai Hallinan, who's still with them, doing monitors, and he's actually starting to do front of house for Colin James now.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he's brilliant younger tech. He's like, early 30s, and he's killing it, and I love it.
Oh, that's
he's
cool.
a guy like that.
I'd love to get him on.
Yeah,
just to get
absolutely.
like a younger perspective.
Oh
too.
yeah, he'd be great.
That's
He's got
cool.
some good stories already, and younger guy. He's just wealth of knowledge. Super smart kid. But he's one I'm most probably proud of anybody that I work with or gave a little hand in the industry, because he came into Frontier Sound and Light kind of blind one day, because his dad used to rent some consoles from us or some PA. He had a small PA shop. His dad would rent stuff just to kind of reinforce what he was doing. And he was just he was like such a like 14-year-old kid, a little pipsqueak kid coming in and helping his dad out. And over the years, see him a little bit. And by the time, I think he was, what was he? Early 20s. And that's when I got the April Wine gig. And I was like, hey, you want to come in with me with April Wine? That opened a door for him.
That's awesome.
And he just took it from there, and, he's killing it.
That's great.
But to go back to that, sorry, getting a little off track, but that's what we do in these, right?
Yeah, that's all good.
So I brought him out to do monitors for Big Rec on that tour, and that was Chris Cadell with Big Rec, who took over for late Brian Doherty. It was his first tour too. So there was a lot of firsts, especially for Ian, right? He's got a new TM front of house, new monitor guy, new guitar player.
Wow, that's a lot for him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So Ian was, and you could tell the first couple of days he's just kind of
trying to get
be very professional.
Yeah, of course,
right?
Absolutely.
Very, and quiet, and then
trying to feel it all out.
Ian, it's just like he can just give her like the best of us and just be that guy, and just college buddy, and just do all the immature stuff that we do and have some fun,
Yeah.
But he's like with so much poise and grace too at the same time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there's a lot of firsts for all of us, but that tour, I met some of the guys that I respect and love the most in the industry. Got Shane, his guitar tech, Shaner. He's still with Ian, and it's just like he'd call me. He's basically how he introduced himself to my daughter. He was my evil twin. Because he's a big bearded guy too, and we're both cut from the same cloth. We love all the same bands. It's all just about our favorite guitar players, just like Zach Wilde and Dimebag and Randy Rhoads and Eddie Van Halen. It's all So I love that guy to death.
That's cool.
But that tour, there's a camaraderie on that within after the first show. Once we got shook off all the heebie-jeebies of gear and all that stuff, because we didn't get any pre-production with the band. We just went in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we went into the shop. They had the rigs ready for us. We made sure everything's working, make sure the desks were talking to each other, and virtual sound check, and everything was all good, and threw it in the truck and left for tour, right? No pre-pro. So once we shook that all off and really started just kind of broing down and stuff, man, within 3 days, it was just I felt like I was on tour with them for last couple of years.
That sounds fun, man. That sounds really fun. That's great.
Yeah, it was really good. So that was a really good tenure with them. That tour was great. And the unfortunate thing is right after that tour, so that ended at Christmas time in 2019, and then boom, into COVID, right?
Ouch.
Yeah. So I'm climbing out of 3 days into Trews, and it's like, the April Wine things, I guess, I'm not gonna say rearview mirror because it sounds disrespectful, but it's just like that's, I built up that resume, and got all this experience, and I feel like I'm at that peak, and then COVID hits.
Yeah. Right.
It's like, don't want to say the words I said, when I was going down, but we were in
the same boat.
Absolutely.
PA shop. We had the most shows, the most stuff, festivals, everything. We had the most. It was going to be a banner year for us.
Yeah. Right.
And same with on my side. I do a lot of corporate shows and all kinds of stuff. I had a it was a banner year.
Yeah.
And, that first sort of, okay, we're shutting it all down. And then there was this sort of hope. Everybody was like, well, we're just going to push it off to the fall, we'll be back up and going by the fall. And then, they did that whole color coded system in the summer, and then it was green, and everyone's like, okay, it's going to be great. And then, fall rolls around. Oh, shut it down.
Shut her down again.
And, good on my dad for keeping it all alive.
Yeah.
During that period, he spent
Big time.
He spent almost his whole life savings, keeping it all going. He paid all his guys to stay on.
Amazing.
And not a lot of people did that, and he did. And
wow.
To keep the sanity for the crew, he did something really cool. My dad has this secret passion of making music videos and films and stuff. He's got like a Red camera, and he's got a film camera and stuff. Cool. But he loves that. And so anyway, he decided, I don't know where, he'd have to ask him where the idea came from really, but they decided to build this soundstage in the warehouse.
Yep.
And it was great. And the Trews actually came and did some of their did some shows there.
I remember when you guys were doing that.
And it was great. And that kept everybody rocking.
Yep.
Wonderful. And but anyway, that was a crazy period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And thankfully it's all over. And but when we came out of that, for us, it was interesting. It was definitely a pretty big ramp up. People wanted to come back and do shows again.
Yeah.
So what did that look like? So during that period for you, it sounds like you did the studio thing again. Right?
A little bit. Yeah. So that's when my buddy Blair that we were talking about earlier, he moved back. Just right. It was actually, he was already planning to move back. And COVID delayed him a little bit coming from the States, right?
Sure.
So
that makes sense.
When he eventually got here, we started doing some studio stuff. And then and this is one of those weird, wacky moments again, where I'm like, how did that line up? Right before COVID, like basically just after that, the Big Wreck tour, things were looking like Big Wreck wasn't going right back out right away. So I'm just like, I want to do something to fill my time, like I don't want to sit at home for weeks on end, So I got a job at Music Pro in Barrie doing all the installs. So we go into the rec centers and some churches and stuff and
cool.
Throwing PA and video stuff and lighting and that. So I was able, because everything was shut down, I was able to keep working through Music Pro and doing these installs, because at that time, that's when people were taking the opportunities when people weren't in these facilities for people to come in and do installs.
That's right.
And we even got into doing like lockdown systems and stuff through all the high schools in like Simcoe County and that. So I was busy. So I was doing that, those two things, and also remodeling Music Pro in basics. No one's in the store. So we take all the guitars, put them away, put more slat wall up, more like just change the store over. We had, we did it over like 4 weeks or 5 weeks.
Sure.
When it was really on the super lockdown, right? Where we didn't have anybody in the store. So we got that done too over time. So I was luckily extremely busy,
That's great.
Not the first month where I thought I was going to go insane.
We all
but yeah, exactly. So
found podcasting at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was super dodgy. Like that month, I was like, like heart, like what am I going to do here? Right. Is when it's like, okay, I got to get, call the bank, mortgage on hold. Like that's how, everything was, it was pretty crazy, and luckily they were all, banks were doing it at that time, just giving you some relief, which is just push it down the line, like a month. It's like, it was fine. Just needed a month.
Car loans were doing the same thing.
Yeah. And just pushed it all back a little bit. So just did that, and luckily I was able to be Music Pro, and then so we did that up into basically the spring and that, but then we started having a few shows because we were starting to do the drive-ins, if you remember that summer. We're starting to do the drive-in shows, so we were there pretty much every weekend, that summer doing the drive-in shows until there was that other big shutdown again in the fall. Remember, we went from the green or yellow back to red.
Yeah.
So just doing that through the whole thing, and just, just working with Big Wreck and working at Music Pro, doing that whole time. And then I was able to survive decently, through that. And things started ramping up. We started touring again. I guess it was 22, sort of full normal tour. But then, yeah, so spring of 2022 is yeah, I think 2 shows into a tour. I got started getting COVID on the bus.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and we had 2 buses. So yeah, so one guy got it. He had to stay in Grand Prairie, I think, and quarantine for a week, and then went home. Flew someone else out. I think did we fly? Was it Bruce Nickel or Johnny Lane who worked with me now? It was one of them. I don't think it was Johnny Lane.
I know Bruce. Bruce is great.
Yeah, Bruce is. Yeah, everybody knows Bruce.
Yeah,
it's awesome. He's a freaking legend, man.
Yeah,
I
man.
love him. Oh,
He's great.
He was one of. I think he was the best out there in Canada. But he's just. Yeah,
he's a good
one
dude.
of them. Yeah.
When I started with Finger 11, it was him and Hoogie.
Oh yeah. Well, what a duo! Like you can't. That's That's top shelf.
It was awesome.
On either side of the stage.
Yeah, it was
stage
awesome.
left, stage right, top shelf. Yeah. So on that tour, so we all started getting, by the time that we got to, I think we stopped at Medicine Hat. We all started getting really sick. Ugh. Yeah. I just remember being in a hotel room. We had a day off or whatever in Medicine Hat. And just like, I think I was watching WrestleMania in my hotel room. I'm still a wrestling fan from when I was a kid. I'm just sitting there and I'm enjoying it, and had some Boston pizza and whatever, and trying to enjoy it because a couple of guys are sick already and getting sent home. And, by the time that bedtime came around, I'm just like, I lie down. I'm like, oh no, I could just feel, the feeling in your legs, that hollow feeling, and the pins and needles and stuff and cold fingertips. I'm like, I got it. And tested with the tour manager the next morning. And, because I think I was just production managing at that point. Yeah, TM, I was out with them. Did the test, and it came back positive. So we ended up, one guy was already home, but then 3 other guys ended up getting it. And we had a bus. We had a positive bus and a negative bus, and then we deadheaded home. Right. So, and Bruce was on that tour, and Matt Kirby, and then Dave, the bass player. So we were on the positive bus. We all had it. And then so it was Ian, Sekou, Chris Cadell, and Kai, I think, were on the negative bus. And we're deadheading from Medicine Hat. And I got out of my bunk once for 20 minutes the whole time.
Oh, I believe it.
And Kirby was just bringing me water. I think I had to take a whiz a couple times, but
sure, yeah.
But just to actually get up and eat. I only ate once in 2.5, 3 days.
Oh yeah, I know.
Going home,
yeah.
And they were checking on me. Like Bruce, told me he's he makes a joke about it now because if we talk about that tour. He goes, "Oh, that's a tour that Dan died in his bunk." And it's like, not almost died. Actually, he's like, he actually did die and came back to life, and was, I was done.
That's crazy.
I felt that's the worst I've ever felt in my life. I was a little bit, wasn't scared, but I was gravely concerned that, there was something really bad going on, and obviously I had COVID, but that it was going to, that my heart was going to stop, my breathing was going to stop or something.
Yeah.
It was bad.
It's that uncertainty, right? Like you just don't know when you haven't gone through something like that before.
Yeah,
it's like
it hurt.
You just don't know.
His body was in it just it just felt like someone just pounded on every inch of my body for, 5-10 minutes. And then I was left there to rot. That's what it felt like. Yeah. For 2 or 3 days.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Lungs were okay, but just the body aches, just bad. Yeah. Fun.
So then, how did you end up back with April Wine?
So, I guess I've been back just over a year. So I was with St. Estonia a couple of years, at that job. So we did a bunch of tours, a lot of great tours. We were at Stain, we were at Sea there, Blackstone Cherry, so that was 2 years. And then Adam told us, he gave us some good warning. He said, I'm going back to 3 days. doing a big reunion, and we're gonna have both singers. And like,
I remember when that happened.
I'm like, I was so happy for him. Like,
That
dude,
was great. Yeah.
like, go kill it. Like, this is gonna be so cool, especially with both guys, right? Like, who does that? It's almost like, and they even say it too, but I thought of it just as soon as Adam was talking about going back. I'm like, that's like having like Sammy Hagar and David Lee Roth in Van Halen. Like, you know, like it's unheard of, right?
It is. Yeah.
So I was super happy for him. And he's like, yeah, so it's like, sorry, I know we're just kind of getting off, you know, lifting off the ground with saying to Sonia, you know, but yeah, I gotta go do this. I was like, yeah, it's all good. We'll find work. We're good. So came to the end of that. I've been out with JJ Wilde for years as well. And then filling in with Glorious Sons and always getting in various work and still doing Finger 11 shows and all that. So I'm just like, yeah, I'm fine work. And all like, so through finding some like fill-in dates and all that, still working at Music Pro and that too. I got a call from April Wines to new TM, Sean Gallman. He's like, can you do a fill-in date? And I said, sure. So we went down to Michigan, Flint, Michigan, and did a show. It was like with like Dawkin, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Dawkin and Warrant, I think. Yeah.
Oh, Warrant.
Yeah. It's like full 80s.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah. No doubt.
You know, so I'm like, sure, that sounds fun. You know, yeah. Not even, let alone just go, you know, get a couple of bucks just to do it. I'm like, it sounds like a fun show. It's cool. Let's do it. So I went down with them, and as the story was told, even today on the way here from Kingston, so we got a new guitar tech who's my brother, Johnny Lane. Love him to death, and he's doing a great job, feeling great. So Sean was telling him how I got the gig, and it was basically we were in his Sprinter, picked up the band at Pearson Airport, and we were on our way down there and just shooting the shit with the guys. Sorry if I'm not supposed to
No,
swear.
you're good, man. Good. No, it's all good.
Okay.
You're good.
So
say whatever you want.
Perfect. Good. Because I've been holding it in. It's
all good, man. We're on after
joking,
8 on TV, so we're good.
So yeah, obviously catching up with the guys and stuff, everything's real jolly. And it felt great to see. I hadn't seen them in years, right? This is I hadn't seen them since Miles, you know, and all that stuff. So, you know, so it was like that thing that was kind of creeping around too. So I'm just like, you know, it's, you know, I know you guys been dealing with a lot of stuff and, you know, and so I met Mark, the guy who replaced Miles and stuff. And we're just talking about music and guitars right away and all that stuff. And we're about 45 minutes down the road, Cambridge en route, go take a break. And Mark went up to Sean and it's like, can we just get Dan back in the fold? He's like, you haven't even heard him mix yet. And he's like, I don't need to.
That's awesome.
You know, and that's the thing too. I was like, you know, first of all, I'm like, you're crazy, you know, because I would never do that. Like, you got to hear the guy mix, right? Or at least get some feedback, you know, get one gig under your belt. But I guess because I've already had a tenure with the band and just the lineup of bands I've worked with and stuff, he's like, that's a moot point. Like, it's like, I get along with this guy and the guys obviously love him and, you know, and he's part of the family, you know, so let's just do this, right?
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it took a couple days to think about it because obviously, you know, I don't want to get into this too much, but you're taking somebody's spot, you know, and I guess all we can say about that is just, you know, that's out of my jurisdiction. That's their choice, you know, if they're going to, you know, so obviously if they're asking me to come back in, it's for a valid reason. So I have to leave my thoughts and feelings out of that and just look at it logistically. Is it something I want to do and something that they need to increase what they're doing and what can I bring to the table and what's this going to do for the camp? Yep. And if that's all pluses, you know, and you know, it's going to go with it, you know.
Yep.
Makes you feel bad. You know, I don't like taking people's spots.
No, I get that.
Yeah, but they were going to, you know, move on anyway. You know, it's like if it's not you, it's somebody else. So think about it. And like, okay, well, you know what? And like I got other bands on the go and stuff. We had JJ Wilde and had some Finger 11 stuff and, you know, just a couple of fill-ins in that. And like I said, I was still working full time, you know, doing Music Pro. And I was like, you know what? Let's do it. So
that's cool.
I love being back, especially not tour managing. I knew we were going to get to this.
Yeah.
So I mentioned this before when we were off mics earlier. But yeah, it's just to take that TM break and just focus on audio. Because as we know, when you're touring with a band and that TM front of house, there's a reason why it's TM FOH first and on your email signature, because it's TM or front of house should be a little smaller, even the font, like, you know what I mean? Because it takes over, right? It does take over. And it's like, I felt like over the years, I'm just like, still increasing my skill level and stuff, because as we know, it's a never ending learning process. Like, I just want to keep getting better and better and better until I'm in the ground. Like, even if I'm lucky enough to be doing this in my 70s or 80s, I just still want to learn and get better. Right. So I just felt like that incline was slow. Right. So I knew it was coming for the last couple of years. I'm like, I'm going to end up not TMing something and just, just concentrate on audio. And I'm loving it. I feel like the last year, just the way I'm looking at things, the way I'm doing things, and my skill level and the time I'm putting in at home, watching some podcasts and learning new things, and getting on my console at home, because I have a studio at home, and and digging in. I just got way more time to do that. My skill level has grown like exponentially, like in the last year, like probably more so than the last 3 or 4 at least.
That's cool.
Right. So it's cool. I'm loving having this time to just, kick some more ass,
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's cool. I mean, we'll get into the technology side of it later, but
sure.
You want to scroll up a bit, Jared, for me? No, the other way. Sorry. Down. I meant down. So we're talking about April wine. We'll get the April wine thing out of the way, and then we'll talk all kinds of other cool stuff, tech stuff and all that.
Sure.
Because you've had two sort of stints with them. What's one thing that people would be surprised to know about the band?
That's a hard one, because they kind of wear themselves on their sleeves. You know what I mean? Like, even there's nothing crazy about them. I'm really trying to think here. What were you going to say there?
I was going to say, like, even something that they do, or something that like a because obviously everybody has sort of a daily thing ritual thing that they do when they get ready for a show, or anything that people would be surprised to know. No,
they are so simple. They are just simple.
Well, there you go.
Simple, lovely guys. That's honestly, I guess ritual wise, right? They obviously. When they're getting ready, they have their little things, like, they don't drink at all, really, especially before show. They might have, a couple of them have a glass of wine or whatever after. But for us ritual stuff, it's like they're just so simple. It's not like, guys, we got to do the thing.
And they've been doing it forever.
Yeah.
So like it's
just, and I love it. It's so calm. Like before show, it's not like hype up. Like they're talking about stuff that they're mowing their lawn or whatever, Sure. I'm not trying to make them sound like uncool, because they're the coolest guys in the world, but it's just the simplicity, and they're just going out there, and they're definitely excited to do the show, and there's a bit of a hype up, but it's such a calm, collected nature. But that's the beautiful thing, is that then they go up on deck, and they're all calm, and the ooh and a night bell starts ringing, and everything changes, right? Yeah. And then Mark's up on the riser, and Brian's got the guitar up here, and there's so much excitement and movement and stuff now, which I'm not used to from my first tenure with April Wine. I think that's what Mark's bringing to things a little bit,
Sure.
And I think Brian as well, like all of them, but I see a little bit more out of Brian too. And that might be because, Mark's moving around more, and it's just giving, that feeling. And I think Brian's just really, really enjoying his time, because it's like Brian's 74 now. Yeah, right. Yeah. He's taking this for all it's worth. He's creating those lasting memories. Right. Because I'm sure the guy's fit as a fiddle, and I think he's going to push like many years down the line and to do this as long as they can. Right.
Sure.
But, when you're up there, I think it's just like, there's a calmness, and it's like in a, more living the moment, and just like really taking things in and giving it that even little extra as well to really enjoy his time doing it. Right. That's so cool. It's great to see.
What's your routine when you're on the road? Do you have a routine?
Yeah, there's a little bit of a routine. So, mornings, I hate sleeping in,
Okay.
Even if I have time, so I'll get up, and like I'm usually, like, especially from the TM thing, one of the last ones to bed and the first one's up, you know, and it's just, I obviously have my morning coffee, you know, it's just sit there, and it's, when I was TMing, it's just, you know, about 5 minutes coffee, you know, and I always like getting off of the bus, like immediately, even if it's cold out, just, you know, get some fresh air kind of thing. And then back on and then it'd just be emails and, you know, coffee. And, you know, and then it's just, just getting the roll of the day. It's like getting there before everybody else. Even if I'm not TMing, one of my favorite things to do is to walk in, and it's like, even as they're just like putting points in the air and there's no gear in the building yet. Right. And just kind of hearing that like clink and clank of, you know, motors going up and them tying off chain and stuff. I just, there's something about that.
Takes you back to your production.
It's like emulsifying, you know, the day. Like, it's just, you know, I don't know. That's just it's the bubble, right? And it's just starting to percolate, and it's like, you know, the first couple of drips of coffee into the, you know, into the thing there, and so it's just that kind of sets things up for the day, and then it's like not at venues, but when I'm at hotel, it's just I gotta get some kind of stretch and workout in, you know, kind of thing, you know, which I've luckily. Did a little bit this morning, a little bit yesterday and stuff, because I'm not getting any younger. I'm going to be 51 this year, and so young enough, like up here, the body's starting to feel a little bit, especially the last like 2-3 years. Yeah. I just felt like it was invincible up until about 46 or 47. I'm like, oh, no.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm in the gym now. I'm feeling
good.
it. I'm at that age, and I'm there, and I'm like, I gotta do it.
How old are you again?
I'm 45.
Yeah, you're getting up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's all about to start by.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's why I'm in the gym, man. I'm
that's the age, man.
You know, 45. I gotta do it, because I can already feel it. Like I've already, you know, I knew before I started back at the gym, I was like, you know, I was having problems with, you know, just being really tight and not being able to stretch and just pulling stuff and just everything. Like, it's just
all,
not just. So
it's all elasticity, man. You don't have to be all super buff and super muscled up or anything at all. Just elongate those muscles, and, you know.
And I saw a stat that said, like, if, you know, after 40, if you're not putting on muscle, you're losing it.
Yeah.
Like every day, basically, you're losing a portion of your muscle.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and I watched, you know, God love him, I watched both my grandparents, you know, especially my grandfather, because he had been waiting for a hip surgery for a while. But I watched him atrophy, like, muscle like crazy, to the point where he couldn't walk at one point.
Oh geez.
And like, I never want to be like that. I just don't. No. Like I love there's certain things I love. Like, I love jet skiing, and I love, you know, and even if I'm like the, you know, 80-year-old guy putting around on his jet ski, like, I want to be able to get on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, like
100%.
It's there's just, I'm going to, you know, do it because, you know, it needs to be done.
Yeah. And just if you can elongate, you know, that process, and then just at least push it down the line a little, maybe another 10 or something, or even if you get an extra 8 years out of it. So you're, you know, it's just like you're feeling that when you're 90, not when you're 81 or 82, right?
Yeah.
Because this thing, it's like we're gonna get there. Like, you know, none of us are getting out of here alive. You know, so you know, but if you can just push it off as much as possible, right? You know, that's the one thing that's been going through my brain a lot, especially the last few years, like post-COVID kind of thing. I'm just like, man, just really gotta, you know,
totally
do the things, you know. And it's like I procrastinate a little bit from time to time, but, you know, I stay on pretty good, and I'm feeling pretty decent, you know. So
what would you say is the hardest part about being on the road that the fans don't see, like that people don't see?
Probably the time to yourself, you know, everybody needs me time. You know, you have those days off and you decide to stay in the hotel room, but there's, you know, and that's me time. You can have that all day, but that's the weird thing, that when you're in that feels a little damaging though too, right? Because then you're isolating and you might start overthinking some things. But that's the thing. There's just that constant buzz that's on you, right? Even though it's exciting, it's like too much dopamine release, right? Even in the calm parts. When you've been doing it day after day, month after month, and you're just routine, it's still that rush of stuff of getting into that arena and getting consoles set up, and, you know, and you're on stage and you're looking out and you're just feeling that, you know, this is going to be, you know, full with 10 to 15,000 people tonight, and it's just like that build up, right? That adrenaline rush, you know, to keep up with that, you know, that's it. it's not keep up. It's just, that's what's getting fed to you. So when you're, when you have that time to downtime, that can be a danger zone, I think. Right. And I don't think people look at that properly. Right. It's like, it's a rock star lifestyle and it's all fun and games and you get to go cool, great things. And it's like, you don't realize how much work it really is, I think there's more from things like this that are happening more. People are starting to realize that and see like behind the scenes and all that over the last 10 years, more and more, and hopefully it gets more from here. But that is the thing. It's the peaks and valleys dealing with that, like where, I feel life, the 9 to 5, work zone for a lot of people that are out there. It's pretty linear, right? There's a little bit of movement, but you get your weekend and that's your thing to, that's your cycle to look forward to. And you do your planning. It's like, we're going to go to the cottage or we're going to go over to, and Johnny and Michelle's and play cards and stuff. And you plan these little things and they're simple and that, like we're, these ginormous peaks and these big valleys. And then the monkey wrenches that get thrown into that too. Right. It's a little nerve wracking,
Yeah, absolutely.
I still love it and I wouldn't trade it for shit, but it's awesome. But it's crazy life.
It is a crazy life. You're right. It's a lifestyle. Like you're all in.
It's not a career. It's not a job.
No, you're all in.
100%.
Yeah, 100%.
Even as a tech, let alone being a musician.
No, you're part of the camp. 100%. It's the whole camp.
Oh yeah.
It's everybody that's in, even the merch guy. Like it's everybody.
Yeah.
You're all in.
Yeah.
For
100%.
sure. Yeah, absolutely. What's your work-life balance like overall? What's that like?
It's good now. It hasn't always been good. I'd say, it's even as recent as, like within the last year and a half or two, it's just like I was hitting some weird points in my life too, right? Because I was losing that balance. I felt like I was on a learning curve for a while, kind of had it. And then it just felt like it took a little bit of a nosedive because it was probably the busiest I'd ever been in my life in like 2003, early 2004. Right. So I was, it was tough gaining that back. But I feel now, because of deciding to do something, like April Wine that's not out on tours all the time. We do a lot of like festival one-offs and short runs, we got big tours, like we've done big ones, and we were coming up to the Triumph Tour in the spring, which is a big, massive 7-week tour. But that's all good. I come home differently now than I used to. I just know to turn some things off and not just stop too, because I think it's the biggest downfall for if you're in that mentality of like, I need a break, I'm just going to stop everything. And you hit that brick wall. So you're not calling your buds, right? You're not talking to family. You're just at home isolating. Like you need to branch out a little bit and have those little home projects to do. So that's what I did when I got home last year from the tour that we did with Bachman Turner Overdrive. It's a 6-weeker. And I just like immediately dove into the stuff. I made a list for stuff I wanted to do around the house and dove into it immediately. Sure. And just all summer long, I was just doing stuff, right? Just did a little bit of reno in my basement. Got a couple of those barn doors up, Castle barn door. It looks amazing, and my wife loves it. So I'm getting that positive vibe back from her. And, just, taking care of the yard and just kept myself extremely busy. Not over busy, definitely, a little bit of, downtime, take a day. It's like, you know what? Just chilling today. I'm going to phone my bud and we're going to go hit a patio, have some beer and some wings.
Nice.
And just come home and get, dinner ready. Wife and daughter will be home, for dinner and stuff and do that. And, so my work-life balance, I think it's, for me, it's as, I don't know how it can really get better at this point. So I feel really fortunate right now that I got a really, really good balance over the last year and a half. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
What's
finally.
Finally. Yeah. No,
15 years later.
You've earned it.
Yeah, I hope so.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
What's the, because you mentioned like all the different types of runs and different, April Wine's been doing this a long time.
Yeah, over 50 years.
What do you, like from your perspective at front of house, having worked with the band and having like, seen all the different shows and stuff like that, what's what's the thing that's keeping those guys out there in terms of getting the gigs and you know, playing to crowds? Like what do you think it is? Because I mean, 50 years is a long time, man.
Yeah.
Especially for a Canadian rock band.
Oh, for sure. We say this all the time. And a lot of people online come to this defense too when people are saying, it's not really April Wine anymore or whatever. It's the songs. They are timeless, legendary songs that people love.
Yeah.
You know, especially in that demographic of those people that were, when the Beatles songs were super popular on radio as new songs, you know, they were kids, you know. And so we're seeing that older demographic and stuff, but then their kids, we see them coming out. So that's increasing the audience too, right?
That's great.
Yeah, it's an odd thing to see people that, guys getting mad at me for this one. People literally walking in with their walkers, you know, but you know, that
says a lot though, man.
Their son,
that's pretty cool,
and his kid in tow, and their kid with an April Wine shirt, and he's like 12, walking in. I'm just like, I've seen it.
It's awesome, man.
I'm like, that's amazing.
It is amazing.
And that's why
they should be proud.
That's
of that.
why we're here doing this, right?
They should be proud of that.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love that. Like the fact that the grandfather is got the walker in tow and is still making the commitment to get out there.
3 generations of fans. Yeah.
Probably won't even walk to the end of his driveway half the time to get his newspaper.
Right? I'm going to see everyone.
I'm going.
Yeah. I love it. That's great. It's a cool thing to see, you know. So that keeps them going too, right? It's just, but it comes down to, it's that these songs, they stand the test of time. They stand the test of people. like you know, all those guys like are just not in the band anymore.
I know.
Brian's still there, thank God, you know. You know, but especially when Miles passed and stuff, that was a hard one. I don't think they knew if they were going to be accepted, and to have the right management in line, and Feldman being the agent, getting right behind them and stuff too. It just is
that
open that door.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing. It's just like, management, and along with Feldman, and just saying, you've been in our band forever, and you know, if you guys want to keep doing this, we're going to put you out there.
Yeah, we're going to make it a go. Still. That's great.
Right. So we're busy. We're doing, you know, 80 shows a year. You know,
it's awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing, man. I mean, that gives, you know, for all the young acts out there that want to have a lifestyle, a career, whatever you want to call it, in the biz. I mean, that's awesome. Like that's awesome that exists, because that's the dream for some of these people.
Absolutely.
Right?
That's longevity. Like, you can look at that and be like, I could be doing this. You know?
Yeah, that's amazing. Years.
Yeah, it's great.
Let's talk tech.
Sure.
Favorite console.
It's a hard one these days.
I know.
It wasn't not too long ago.
The other guys said the same thing.
Yeah. Did they? Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Brendan's kind of a Digico guy now.
I love the Digicos.
But but everybody's kind of got different things going on, right?
I would say like 10 years ago, there was no question. It was Digico, like hands down, right? But there's a couple companies, obviously Avid with the new series, SXL or whatever. I really like that console. You know, it's just like
is that what you were using with monitors on 3 days?
I was using first. I was using I had a profile that
really?
they owned, right? They owned a couple of profiles, so they were still using those.
Do they want another one?
Not anymore.
I was going to say, can't get parts
tenure
now.
Though.
Can't get parts for them anymore.
No, that's the thing. They're done. When they're done, they're done.
Yeah.
It was loaded up with waves, so we were using a lot of waves and stuff to get a lot of SSL comp C6 and stuff to really get some things just tighter and bigger sounding and stuff, So, but it was from there though we moved so we did that summer. We moved into Digico and started using. I think it was an SD9, then an SD10.
Yep.
I just think they sound comparative to those cleaner, fuller. Not a lot of colorization, but I think that's for in-ears. That's what you want. You can add that if you want.
Yeah.
Using either Digitube or Waves plugins, which you're starting to do. So I would have been hands down Digico. I'm still kind of there. I love the Digicos. I just love the format and the layout, and it just feels like home to me. Because working at Frontier Sound and Light, that's all we had. We didn't even have a single Avid desk. Oh, wow. It was all just the analog stuff. So some Soundcraft stuff, some Alan Heath stuff, and all Digicos, right? kind of went that thing. It's like we're a Digicoat house. Mike and Frontier Sound and Light, one of the first production houses to have like a collection of Digicoats. We were like some of the first people to bring them into Canada.
It's awesome,
right? So
yeah, great desks.
Yeah, I love them. Yeah,
I've got a pile of them. It's great.
Yeah, so so they're still there, but definitely have to mention that Alan Heath has upped their game tenfold,
definitely
in the last 10 years, right? And getting into that D-Live thing, and so much so, a few years ago, I bought an Avantis, right? I really like that desk a lot. I just like the way that it's laid out, and basically I got Dante card for it right away, so we could run virtual sound check. That's all I was doing with that, and then the D-Pack upgrade. So that just gave me the 16 inches of dynamic processing, like dynamic EQ and multi-band compression, and then the plug-in upgrade. So there's like the G-Bus stuff in there, and the 1176s, and the mighty compressor, and all the flavor toys, and the mic pre's, the dual tube stage, like the 3 different mic pre's. So you can get on those desks, you can really colorize a lot just with that and without waves, right? But I'll say at the end of the day, when I got back in with April Wine, I wanted to get something I could fly, right?
Right.
So I was thinking going the D-Live route, C1500s and stuff. But what really caught my eye and what I just bought recently was the Waves LV1.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw. Yeah, you sent a picture of that.
So we have that, so we can fly it now. And so I'm just looking more for consistency and stuff now. Plus, I just, I've really fell in love just with the interface of it, the UI on it's great. I really feel like Waves is really like expanding on that. Like they're really dedicated to expanding the system.
Yeah.
Well, hence them going and using and making the classic version of the modular system. And then they got the fader port and stuff for it now. And so I just really feel like it's evolving. They just upped it from 64 to 80 channels, and then 16 bus now from 8, in a very short period at a time.
It's going to keep going.
I think that's a thing. I'm still waiting for they're going to do the LV2, and it'll just be like basically 2 of the consoles mashed together. And that's going to be like their, and they'll add some cool stuff, maybe a more meter bridge or something. And they'll call it, I don't know, LV2 or LV1 Max or something.
LV2M or something.
Yeah, LV2 Ultimate. Who knows, right? I feel like that, and that's what we do for the bigger format tours, is just rent one of those. And I have my other one for just the flyouts or something like that.
That's cool.
But I really like the format, and I got the Waves Creative package, Creative Access. So I got every single plugin and all the updates available at my fingertips all the time.
Cool.
It's really helping me get super surgical about stuff. It's almost like, I don't think I've used, because I've been a pretty heavy plugin user, for a long time, but not as deep dive into surgical and stuff as I am now, like using the F6 and C6s, like really in a surgical manner, to hone in on things. And it's fun because it's like so easy to bring the console inside. I got my studio at home.
Yep.
It's acoustically treated stuff, so I'm getting kind of a truer sense of things and just diving in. I'm just like, I'd be up to like 4 a.m. My wife's going to work, and she's like, "You're not still awake right now."
Jared, go into the picture file for a sec. There's a picture of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Just want to bring it up quick so we can.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I think I sent one in.
Yeah.
That's it right there. There she is. Yeah, in this little home studio.
As it should be, the first one. There it is.
Yeah, there it is. That's what I got at home. A little bit of acoustic treatment. Those are just homemade. Just it's installation and some like a thin framing and a cool story about those sidecars. Those were sitting collecting dust at Frontier Sound and Light for well over a decade. Those sidecars
were they from the studio, from Studio 11?
But even before that, from Newmarket Multimedia.
Oh, wow.
So Mike's studio, and they were just basically a clear stain, like a maple look, right? And then they got restained later on. But those sidecars, I remember sitting in front of those. I remember Mike set that up in his studio in 1997.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have those now, and that patch bay. It's hard to see It's on the right-hand side.
Oh yeah, I see
Right?
it.
Just
On the angle.
So it's a Bantam patch bay, and everything's all in the back, all the wires in the back. Mike sold that to me for like 10 cents on the dollar from what he paid for it. Just like,
I'm sure.
He's like, buddy, if you can, run some music through those wires in this patch bay again, like, like here you go.
Yeah,
right?
like what are you going to do with it?
Yeah, exactly.
The
You had
studio
no use
world's
for it.
totally changed.
So I love it. There's a lot of my, career startup and heritage and that are kind of that's baked into the wood
I
there.
love the Tascam DAT player there.
Yeah, right. That's old school too. It was my first DAT I ever
we
bought
still
when
have one here, I think.
I was 21 when I got that, I think.
That's awesome.
So 25 years ago. Yeah, more than that, 28. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Oh, here we go.
Oh, here we
yeah,
go. We might as well do it. Let's do it.
Let's just pop her in there. Yeah, this is 2022, summer of 2022. I took on JJ Wilde project, and we had a gig open up for Kiss in Nîmes, France, and along with some other smaller club touring over there, and opening for we were on side stage, but at Hyde Park, opening for Pearl Jam.
Oh wow!
As well, a couple days later, we flew up there.
Crazy.
But this is pretty cool. I didn't think this was going to happen. Their security guy was like, "Yeah, maybe we might be able to do it or whatever." And it's funny because we were all scattered, and then I just see a couple of them running, right? And kind of off in the distance, and because their security guy just went and I think got JD and Mitch there, the drummer. So if you want a photo with Kiss, you got about 30 seconds. So we all just kind of popped in there. They were super nice, and just it was cool. Just to, after this picture, they started walking away and just shook all their hands. I'm like, thanks a lot for having us here, right? So and they were just pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, Gene was funny earlier that day. He just like came out on the stage, and they're doing sound check, and he's in his trench coat, his hat, and it's like, where are you guys from? Because it's like, we're from Kitchener, Ontario. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing here? He said to them.
That's hilarious.
And it's like, we just, management got this gig. Thank you very much, sir, for having us there. I'm at front of house wondering what he's saying to the guitar player, Dan. And he's like, cool. I'm going to go take a crap. See you guys later. And just walks off.
That's about right.
And that's Gene,
Yeah. Bob, when Bob, this is photo right behind you there. Bob was on. He tells a great story about when he met Gene at Bayfest, and anybody who hasn't seen that episode should go back and watch it. But Bob's like, he's like, the first time I ever met Gene, he walked up and Bob's got his his V guitar, right, and he walks up behind and he goes, "Can I touch it?" And he's like,
always got to be something sexual with him.
The guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just thought that was great.
That's great.
This totally tells a tell on his personality, right? It's so chill and but yet so funny.
Yeah, for sure.
It's great.
Awesome.
There's the Trews.
Yeah, I think I probably got a few photos of all the bands I worked with. That was my the Trews was
both SD9
great.
shows.
Yeah, that was the first tour I did with them, and we went at bare bones, no waves package, no anything, and I just had my little RTA up there, and that was a great tour, man. With them, I said that earlier. So one of my favorite tours I did. That was the fall of 2019. I think this is in New Brunswick. I forget what theater it's called, but it's getting near the end of the tour. Yeah. So
that's cool.
Yeah. Another big wreck one. This was the second last show of the tour. I call this the last show of the tour because you got another photo that's like us basically at my house afterwards. But this is at Mavericks in Barrie. This is
yeah.
And it's too bad. It's a great venue, but it's closed down now.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, but this was a great night because I had it was like felt like hometown hero thing. All my buddies came out. I'm running sound for Big Rack, and they hadn't seen me in months, and cool. It's got the old pat in the back, and it's like I don't feel like I overly need that in my career, but it still feels good, right? Like having all my buddies that don't do this kind of thing, or even my musician buddies that just playing cover bands and stuff now, whatever, just like going right on, Dan. It feels good.
Totally.
So same tour. That was my fill-in. No. I had to put it. She's gonna kill me when she sees this. That was my daughter Leah. So she was 10 at the time, and her and my wife drove down to Buffalo, surprise visit to come and see me on tour. We've been out on the road probably for a month already, and I was missing them terribly. And so she came out, and you know, it's like I was definitely not trying to make her get into mixing or anything, but I did when she was little. Took a couple photos. Like, what if she does just like what Dad does and get into it, and she can show this photo one day, right? Totally. But regardless, I just love that. It's just that it's near and dear to my heart. It's like my little gal on the hands of what I do.
Absolutely, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good little.
I love it.
Oh, that is at Madison Square Gardens. Yep.
Yeah.
First gig ever. That was out with 3 Days Grace. I was doing Monitors. 3 Days Grace. That was a Disturbed Evolution tour in early 2019.
Oh wow.
Yeah, just Beard was just coming in at that point.
Yeah, just getting her going.
Yeah, just starting to get it going. Yeah,
awesome.
I thought this one would be
I saw
funny.
this photo. I was like, this is hilarious.
Yeah. I had a buddy over. We were just hanging. It's just before even I didn't even have a real studio yet or anything, but just my little music room. Newly moved into my house, and I had behind all the guitars, I'd hung up all my tour passes that I had to date. And he's like, dude, you should just put these all on like Mr. T and let me get a photo. Right. So it's like, I pity the fool, it doesn't go on tour, like, or whatever, So, and that was only probably about half of them. I got so many of them. It's insane.
I know.
I love collecting them.
Oh yeah. I have every single one.
Yeah. I love just going through them once in a while. And it makes me remember these shows, and not just the shows. It's like, remember, it's like the travel. And it's like, oh, and we went to that cool bar, and that's the one that had the bowling alley upstairs, and you know what I mean. It makes me remember these things. So,
yeah.
So I love going through it with some buddies that I've toured with, or just my friends that'll ask. It's like, oh, what was this one all about? It's just fun. Awesome. I can be that old man telling the stories.
That's the best.
On this one, back in my day, on this tour, So. Well, there's another good one. This is Finger 11 with my buddy Grant right in the middle, filling in for Steve, because Steve his wife was delivering a baby, I believe, over that was the time. Yeah, she was almost due, so Grant was filling in. And so we were out at the Tiki Bar having a cocktail or two. I'm totally dressed like a tourist. You can't see, but I got the white, like
the white shorts.
Yeah, the white jorts. Awesome.
I love it.
Or not jorts. This is the half high, and with sandals.
Nice.
So that's why I got the smirk on my face. I'm just like, I'm totally being an absolute tourist idiot right now. It's great, and didn't care. I love these guys.
So much fun, man.
They're so much fun. They're just, I feel like, cut from the same cloth. We're all, around the same age, like the same music.
Yeah.
Back in the day when Clark Nova was touring with them, I was doing sound for them. That was my first taste of like real touring, being on tour bus and stuff. So I have a deep connection with these guys for sure.
Anyone that names their first band the Rainbow Butt Monkeys,
right? Yeah,
is fucking awesome.
Yeah, I love that they did. Remember a couple of years ago when they came out and just did that show at Burlington?
Yeah,
Sound of Music Festival. Yeah, or was it Canada Day? No, it was Sound of Music.
Sound of Music.
Yeah, that was Rainbow Butt Monkeys.
Awesome.
And James was going insane.
I love it.
He was just he's like, okay, this is what we did when we were 20, and I'm 40 whatever now, but I'm gonna do all the the things he did when we were 20. So
I'm sad I missed that.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Oh, back into Clark. Here we go with Clark Nova. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So this is kind of I thought I'd show this. It's a show that I was a guitar player.
The drum head and everything.
Yeah, this was during Wakestock 2002, I believe. So this is probably This is when we were like I said, that summer doing shows with I Mother Earth and those few with 3 Days Grace and stuff. This was middle of the summer. It was a lot of fun playing this band, even though it was a higher gun. I had a lot of time, a lot of good times.
Stand on the kick drum there?
I am standing on the kick drum.
I love
and
that.
I'm lucky
it's awesome.
Because if it was any other drummer that I played with other than John Lord, I would have, got a drumstick shoved up my keister.
Yeah. In that moment.
Probably. Yeah, probably right then. Yeah. But he just loving it. He's like, yeah, And so I used to be crazy back then, man. It was all about the show for me. It's just like,
it was fun, man.
That's the thing. Times. It's I'd even, playing was I wouldn't say it was secondary. It's definitely right up there. But it's like if I had to miss a chord so I could jump off a drum kit, I'm missing the damn chord.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love it.
That was me back then for sure. Oh, going back to that last big rec show. This is the one time that I was able to have a tour bus parked at my house.
Nice.
Yeah. So the bus driver was cool enough that he's like, you know what? Yeah, I'll just bring the lads there, and then we'll they can hop back on at like 4 or 5 in the morning, and I'll drive down to the lot, and they can get off from there.
Cool.
So yeah, it was pretty cool. Thank you, Gypsy Wind, my favorite
out
bus
to
company.
Mike.
Yeah, gotta love Mikey and Heidi. You know, and their main driver, Sean Wedemeyer. He's he's one of my bros, and he's such a good driver. So and we got him for the Triumph Tour. So we just locked up with Mike and Heidi there. I got the old, I think one of the Stormtroopers. We call it the white bus.
Yeah,
we call him Stormtrooper.
That's awesome.
And we got Sean, so I'm happy.
That's
I'm
great.
Good. Yeah,
that'll be a good run.
Yeah, that was a fun night. That was a very, very late night. I did not feel good for a couple of days.
This can happen.
Fair enough. Right?
Yep, this can happen.
Yeah, I love the tour bus photos, so I thought I'd throw in more.
Sure, why
That's
not?
a LA Forum with 3 days grace.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, there was just so many buses there. This is with on Disturbed.
Yep.
So I think there was 9 buses.
Oh man, that's crazy.
You know, it was a lot. Yeah, there's a couple more over this way, maybe 7. But yeah, I thought I'd get a little picture there, especially the LA Forum. You know,
Iconic.
yeah, iconic for sure. Black Sabbath Bridge. This is a year ago.
I didn't
Actually, it was a year ago yesterday.
I didn't even know this was a thing until I saw your photo.
Yeah. So I had seen this online just before this, like a week before. I saw it in passing, but I didn't put two and two together that it was in Birmingham, England. So we go over there. We're with April Wine, and we have a tour with Uriah Heep, a month-long tour over in the UK. I start walking by myself from the hotel. The venue is just off to the right, big theater.
Okay.
And I just walk by, and I look up, and it's right there in front of me. And I'm like,
wow,
are you kidding me? This is crazy.
Meant to be.
Yeah. So this photo was taken later that in the day after the gig was done. But I do have one, and it actually just came up yesterday. So this was like a year ago yesterday that I found this, and then what a great picture to have, especially that Oz is gone now, and just it's like that's a keepsake picture. I wish it was a little more clear, but I just got someone to a passerby just, hey, can you take a picture?
Hey man, take me a photo. Yeah, that's cool.
So I'm really glad to have that.
That's awesome.
I'm a huge Aussie fan. God bless that guy. Rest in peace.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So that was my rig last year on the BTO tour, which doesn't exist anymore. But I thought I'd send it in because this is a rig I used for a couple years. That's the Alan Heath Avantis. Oh, yeah, and then I ventured out the wonderful people at Audioscape have me outfitted for good price to have some awesome analog gear there. So as you can see, I got my squawk in the top, but I have they set me up with a G-Bus GC style compressor. Yep. That's what I had on my main bus. I had their D-Comp, and that's what I ran on my drum crush bus, just to get some really heavy, saturated sounding compression. Worked really well for that.
Sweet.
I got the DBX 160, which I was using on my kick. I think it was my kick group and bass group. Underneath that, 1176 black, which I was using on Brian's vocal. And then I used a nice fast attack bluey on Mark's vocal, the 76 bluey. And that was, I was really adding, even though here's the deal. All the plugins of that nature are in the desk.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah, right.
But there is, I set up the console to have all those plugins in line, but they're bypassed, right? And we went out for the first 3 days of the tour. I bring tour manager Sean out, and I'm like, listen, right? Go back and forth, right? And he's like, there is a difference. It's minimal. But that's the thing. It's like those,
side by side, yeah.
Yeah, right? So those little 1 or 2% minimal differences to each of those elements, right, added up to quite a bit. So I would basically set it up on a macro to have them all engaged or all disengaged.
Oh, that's
right?
interesting.
So just go back and forth, and you're just like, so you can hear wow. Yeah. And there is a big difference, It's not be all and end all. Like those plugins and stuff, they do the thing and they sound great. But there is something about that analog gear, just going through those wires and everything warming up and emulsifying, and those transistors. No, there's no tube gear there. I do now have some TL audio stuff that is a tube, like that I bring out with me, but that's all just, transistor gear and, comps and stuff. And they add something.
Is there one piece of gear that you can't live without on the road?
Well, I don't own it yet.
Oh, interesting.
So I'll tell you the quick story. I was doing a gig in Newfoundland with JJ Wilde for the Iceberg Alley Festival. I was using an Avid S6L, get my mix together, and a system engineer, he has his rack with his lake processor, LM44 or whatever, and I look in the top, and he's got the Sonic Farm Creamliner 3, right? And I had read about it a little bit. I was like, is that patched? And he's like, yeah. And it's like, we just got to digitally patch it, but it's, it's wired, So basically, brought it in on my left-right bus now before sending it to Matrix. And it said, dial it in just to make sure I'm getting nice, even level. And just was looking at it to make sure nothing was going to pop out, crazy. So mid-song and sound check, JJ Wilde just hit the engage button basically, and bam, there it is in all its glory. So
crazy
lows and mids, nice, creamy, tight, high end, kind of crystallized, but not sharp, Oh, wow. And everything just kind of just pushed it front a little bit. It just added that nice harmonic distortion that we love, and that analog saturation. And I need to buy one of those now. There's other things on the list. I want to make sure that, the LV1 and I need casing for it and all that stuff is a kind of priority, but that unit is coming to pop in and it's going to stay. It's just, awesome. There's a couple others too. Like that G, I've actually sold off the 76s, right? Since I got the Waves LV1. But the G series, the G comp, basically the SSL clone, I don't think I'm ever going to get rid of that. It's just a nice thing to have. It's going to be in my rack, and I can either use my left-right bus or my straight up drum bus, just to go through, a analog piece of gear, because there is that little bit of a difference, So I'll probably keep that, and a couple of little other things too, like my BBE, the Sonic Maximizer. I might not use it as much. I love that device. I used it on a kick and snare for years, and it's just that low contour, and there's that high, the BBE process, and adds that little snap. And I'm probably still gonna use it, even though I got the LV1 and I got like Oral Exciter to go to and other things that kind of do the same thing. I love the way it sounds.
PA.
Yeah, that's another hard one because there's
so much, right?
I used to have my favorites. It's like, oh, D&B. Right, right out of the gate, right? But there's just so much, and there's the thing too. It's not even just some older PAs with newer age processing too, and it's like, man, that really brings that old PA back to life.
Sure, absolutely.
But I really like it. D&B stuff. One of my favorites too was the Meyer Panther. Oh, yeah. Rig. I just think it's really musical sounding. Like, I know when I bring my mix file, and as long as I got the same mics and all stuff that are on that same mix file, I just find it's more ready to go right away. Oh, yeah. I don't know what it is. It's just maybe it's just the way I mix and the way that those boxes are designed or something, But a lot to do, obviously, now it's all to do with system processing.
I was just going to say it probably has something to do with the system processing.
And that's been the biggest game changer, man. Is totally. The knowledge of system processing and what we can do, and there's these guys out there that are just wizards that makes me, the quest for knowledge in that area is starting to grow, because I feel like I'm almost getting behind, even though I normally, these big tours that I do, there is a system guy, right? Just got to convey what I want. I understand the process, but they really dig in and know, the real innards and the super science of it, right?
Yep.
And they're faster, and I love, it's great. It's great to have people like that and rely on them. Just get your PA they know the way that you want it every day. Mm-hmm. Right. And you can it's like you're acting like a producer, and it's like, I need to feel like this, or I want to do this with it today, or you know, we go and listen to your side hangs and be like, yeah, you know, maybe we can, you know, bring, you know, contour it a little bit, you know, more over the side, and we're losing this here or something, you know. Yeah, but as far as overall, you know, favorite, I can't say that I have a favorite.
Sure.
So I love the acoustic stuff too, right? And just I've gone in just with my mix file and just brought up left, right, and like, okay, it sounds amazing. We're great.
Yeah, it really. I mean, if you got a good PA, it's one of the top brands, and it's you got a good system tech, and he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when we had bought a used 4889 rig, JBL rig,
Yeah,
and I remember there was a lot of people at that point that had it was hit or miss because the processor stuff wasn't as locked down.
Yeah.
And so you could go to one place and play on a JBL rig and it was trash, and then you go to the next place and it sang.
Yeah.
So we had to kind of overcome that when we got it, and that was right as there was these new presets that had come out for the processor, and you know, so we were thankfully, you know, we were able to get that rig to sound really good.
Yeah, man.
And you know, not to say it brought anyone back onto the JBL camp for sure, but it was acceptable. Like, it was
making the absolute most.
Everybody was like, yeah, you know what, this PA actually sounds really good.
Yeah,
and that was the beginning to us as a company, and my dad's for sure kind of realizing, wow, okay, so processing has a lot to do with
tons and tons.
And at that time, he started really buying. He had bought like XTA, and he had bought, you know, like some of these, you know, more really expensive processors. Whereas traditionally, back in the 80s and stuff, I mean, we still had some decent crossover processors, but it wasn't like that. Like, it wasn't not right? Like now. No,
like diving into the lake and stuff, right?
Yeah,
I love having like processing, like you know,
totally.
You know, on my end and stuff in the lake and then into their lake. You know, so I'm tailoring my mix and stuff, and then matrixing out from there, but into them, and then they can. You know, they have their system settings, and right, but yeah, it's all about processing, man.
Totally.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind an old Vertec, man. Sometimes a little rock box, man. Sometimes just give her. It's like London Music Hall. I'm doing a show there tomorrow night. I love the way.
Yeah, it's a Vertec.
Love that PA sounds killer in that room.
It does. They've had. I mean, obviously they do you know, 6 shows a week in there every week for the last you know, whatever,
they got
15,
her down.
20 years, whatever. So 25, I guess now.
Yeah.
But any new technology that you're using? I guess obviously you just talked about it, but
the Waves LV1 there. Yeah, that's I feel like that was a bit of a game changer for me because it's such a small format, and you can just take it everywhere. Like the consistency now, like basically from this point out, it's going to be on every single April Wine show I do, you know, and beyond that, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I love. Like, I love the big old console, right? It just feels great, especially when you're doing a big arena show. You know, it's just you know, it just looks cool, you know. And it's just having all those faders out at once, and you're not banking as much, right? Especially when you're doing a lower channel count band, if it's only 24 or 32 channels, right?
Yeah,
you almost have everything there with the customizable banks and stuff. But yeah, I think that's the biggest thing about technology for me right now is just like that smaller format console that I can fly everywhere, that I can bring in a hotel. Actually, I just did a Facebook post the other night and just editing my file, you know, because I've been off it for a few weeks, right? You know, because we flew out west and we didn't fly the desk, didn't have the proper case for it yet. So I brought it into the hotel and I was just going through it, making sure everything's good, and had, you know, virtual sound check, headphones, you know. And it's like that's incredible. That lets me, you know, because I'm willing to put the work in. You know, I don't have to I'm not just gonna go fly over the band, just, you know, sit at the bar or, you know, whatever, do something. I'm gonna, you know, I'll sit in the hotel room and do the extra work, right? And just get, you know, a little step ahead. So to be able to do that now with the console that I'm actually using, I'm not just offline editing, I'm using the console that I'm using at the show tomorrow night, you know? Yeah. That's pretty cool. You know, I love that stuff.
Do you have any type of a specific process that you go through during sound check?
Yeah, usually. My main thing that I've started in the last, you know, couple of years, and sometimes you just don't get there, but my main thing is starting with vocal. You know, it's just, and that's a lot of the guys that I look up to. You know, it's like, you know, like Pooch, Ken Van Druten, and, you know, guys like Brad Divins and all those guys, right? It's like, start with your vocal, you know. Basically, you know, if you're starting there and you're kind of, you know, doing your moves and the PA around that, your delicate moves, you're in a good spot, you know, and so make sure that vocal is loud, proud, solid, intelligible. And then you mold everything in around that because, you know, no one's going home humming the bass drum. Right?
I like that. Yeah.
That's the line. Right?
That's good.
Or you can insert whatever here. No one's going home
No.
humming the snare or the bass or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like the odd person. That was a wicked guitar solo, right? You know, you're going to get, you know, of course the guitar's got to be nice and present, but that is your focus. It's all about the vocal.
No,
you know,
100%.
So,
some of the worst mixes I've ever heard is, you know, everything is just so loud that they've got everything so compressed.
Yeah.
And people are like, what's wrong with the sound? It's like, well, where do I start?
You got to watch it. And that's the thing is like compression is your best friend and your worst enemy, right? Mm-hmm. So I kind of take that route of like, get that vocal out front. And that's the thing, I love like super compressed stuff. Like it's just that snare that because a gunshot punch
there's
in
a place
face.
for it,
absolutely.
but not the whole rig.
Yeah, right. But then it's just about creating, you know, the holes for that too, right? Like it's just and making sure things aren't getting buried, right? And that's it. And going back to like, you know, the newest and latest technology, even though it's getting a little bit older now, but using that multi-band compression and and dynamic EQ and stuff to create those little pockets. So you can have that super, you know, compressed snare and it's not going to take over a mix because, you know, when you're using those tools to create little pockets so the vocal can pop out in those frequency ranges or
just like you would in a studio.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Those tools are available now.
Yeah, that's what's great.
Yeah,
you know?
that's cool.
So that's the thing. So that going back to the process vocal and just working back from there. I'll normally go from that and then start, you know, go back to drums. Right, just making sure that that vocal's there and on top. Now that I have that volume reference, and I can start on kick and snare like those loud transients. Then I know where I can kind of, you know, go up to without kind of, overrunning that vocal, right? And then just kind of start leafing in bass and guitar and stuff there too. But yeah, that's that's the process really, and it's it's pretty simple, especially nowadays that. We got our files and they're ready to go. And as long as that, PA's tuned right and there's not a ton to do, right? And just little tweaks, I normally try to stay away from like when I do my checks, sources because I've put in the work at home, to, listen on my good studio monitors and in a decent environment and on my headphones. And I know those sources by themselves and how their summing is working, right? So I'll naturally, or normally go to the bus if I'm making any fine adjustments, if I'm hearing something that's a bit off, right? And because I don't want to start tearing apart my sources that I'm summing together to create that grouped result that's going into my main bus. So yeah, that seems to be in my process.
Where do you see things going? Like it's obviously things are going digital. Like we clearly, but obviously, you're bringing back some analog. Some of the other guys said they're bringing back some analog.
Yeah.
Where do you sort of see, and I guess it's kind of maybe a different kind of question. Like not only where do you see kind of the technology going, but where do you want it to go?
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, almost two different questions there.
Almost.
I see more automation. I see the AI thing is a real thing. It's creeping in. Through that, I think you're going to see for at least for like setting up and dialing things in, you're going to see more prompting. I really think that's where the AI thing is going to go, not necessarily, mixing a show. I certainly don't want to see that because I'd be out of a job, but I don't know. It's just hard to see like, because I've tried to imagine that because people say it's like, you think AI is going to take over your job one day.
I was literally going to just ask you that. Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like the processes I just think it's going to make my job a lot easier, to be honest.
Yeah.
To get a better result, I guess, or just quicker analyzations of things. But in that same respect, like I personally don't want that to happen. I like digging in and finding those problem areas. Like when
can you imagine where all of a sudden it's like, hey, here's the original album track.
Yeah.
Make it sound as close to this as you can.
Yeah.
What?
And it's and then it comes out of the PA and it's pretty close. And you're like, shit.
Yeah.
I don't have to do that.
That's crazy.
It's like I don't. And I make this joke because my daughter's asked me this question. And you think, and I make the joke of just like, by the time that comes around, I'm going to be old and retired and sipping pina coladas down in Mexico. So
and then she could be mixing through AI.
Shit,
And then she could be mixing through AI.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. That's it. Maybe I can be on the beach, and just just give it a couple of prompts and, I don't know. It's weird.
It is weird. It's a weird time.
So that's a question of where, where I guess where it could go and where I want it to. I kind of answered to both. It's where I want to go. I don't mind the technology and it to help a little bit.
Yeah. It's going to come no matter what.
But I'm just hoping I'm personally in a spot and my ears are still good enough that I don't have to use it. It's just like, I don't mind the industry going there and maybe enjoy a couple of the processes for fun or to speed something up for me for a day, so I can actually, have, more time, more downtime, because we're, traveling and we're, in somewhere like Mexico or something, and just get more time to travel around. Like sound check is like 15 minutes now, instead of a couple hours or something. But yeah, I just hope I can keep remaining to do, most of what I'm doing, now and for the rest of my career, which is probably, 15 or 20 years still at least left in it. So
how do you think the economics of it all are going to change? And not necessarily on the tech side, but even just like the overall touring industry. Like,
oh geez, it's so hard to know. It's such an economic, struggle for a lot of the things have changed so much so fast.
Yeah.
Right. I just hope for touring. I hope people are just still wanting to go out and see a live show. And I hope that doesn't go away, man. Like if I'm sitting somewhere one day and it's just like, a tour is rolling out and then it gets canceled because there's not enough people attending, I would seriously cry.
Yeah.
Like there would be full physical tears and heartbreak.
Yeah.
Because it's such a special event. And it's one of the last great gatherings on planet Earth that we can do in a civil, wonderful manner, celebrating music. And, if that goes away,
You made when you made the comment about the grandfather bringing out the son and the grandson that, or granddaughter, whatever. Like, I think that's the key, right? I think it's a matter of like, in a time where maybe young people don't know any better or haven't experienced it yet, or think that they know better, or all these things, right? Like think that they don't need knowledge from their parents because they can get it on Google. But I think there's something about taking them to a show. We took my daughter to see Coldplay, because obviously the songs, but the lights and just the whole thing, right? We thought she'd think it's cool, and we took her to Rogers Stadium in Toronto to go see Coldplay. And now every time a Coldplay song comes on, she's like, oh, I love this song. And so like, I think there's something there. There's something about passing it down and continuing that tradition, right?
100%.
I think that's a big part of it.
That hand down is, from generation to generation is invaluable. Like it's just, you're not going to get that from a YouTube video. It's all laid out for you perfectly, it's just step by step by step, but having, these things that we enjoy and the things that we do, and that we work at, and handing that down to the next generation, that'd be your kids, or, that new kid at the shop, that's learning the ropes and stuff. There's something about that human to human connection. I believe that
definitely 100%.
And even if it might take longer and stuff, but just, you know what? Like if I can give anybody, like listen to the old guy. You know, I'm gonna be that guy, the weird bearded, gray haired bearded guy sitting in the corner of the shop or at a gig one day. It's just like, come sit down and listen. Because I know I have in the past, and that was invaluable information to me. Like it's so important. If that can continue, and taking these new technologies in stride, and creating a balance between them, almost like the work tour life balance, home and tour balance. If we can just keep that going, we'll be okay. It's like like anything, like now, when you go too far to one side, it's not good. It just creates imbalance, especially with newer technologies. You can't just jump in feet first, you got to, tread the water a little bit and see what's going on and find your path through that. But that pass down of information and knowledge it's from heart to heart, human to human is where it's at for sure.
What advice would you give someone that wants to get into doing front of house or tour managing or any of the stuff that you've done in your journey?
Yeah. Well, the way I came up is so different right now, right? Totally. So it's still fundamentally the same. You can go to a course or whatever. There's so much more info out there. It's funny because I catch myself saying sometimes, like, it's such an old guy thing to say. It's like, well, if I had that back in my day, I'd be, so much better or whatever, it's, I'm content with my skill level and still growing, but it's still like, I don't know. Lose my train of thought a little bit on that.
It's all good.
Yeah. What if it's a question for you again?
What advice would you give someone that wants to get into doing front of house?
Into it.
Yeah.
It's such a hard one. I guess you got to start, obviously, you got to find a mentor. I think if you can just reach out there, like if you're really into it, finding somebody, even if it's just like, somebody's older brother or someone's got a cousin that's in the industry, or so, just through people that, or even online, you find somebody and try to reach out to them through some direct message or something, and just kind of get a little feel for that. Because getting back to what we were just saying, getting that, that human mentor, it's so valuable, right?
Yeah.
But then obviously it's, going and getting book smart on it is obviously the next step, right? And you can do that by a couple of different ways. By no means do you have to go to a college program, to get into it. For me personally, it was just a way to just like get snapped, like basically my butt kicked right into it. Like you had no choice. I spent $6,000 my own money, for my tuition for that year. And, like, I don't want to waste that money, so it's a good, good motivator.
Yep.
So I just brought all that knowledge in, and it was great because it was at a time like they had some Pro Tools rigs there. They had the old MCI 2-inch tape machines, and they had some Neve consoles. So I was getting in, we were learning cutting tape, and also we were doing digital editing and stuff too. So, those technologies, how it's shifted, are all there and available. And it's just a good way to, to get that knowledge base started and create your foundation. And I say foundation because it is that, like, I feel after I was done at RIC, graduated in 97, I'd say by the end of 98, I learned like 5 times more than what I learned in school. Just getting in there and throwing some gear in a van, going to do a crappy bar gig, right? With some gear that I didn't really know too well, and getting, building studio, working in the studio. So I'm working with bands and just getting thrown right into it. So that's the real world experience. So it's going back, find a local studio or something, the guy that's, or the guy that's done the program, and now he's got a studio 3 years later in his house, and he's got a little bit of knowledge, and he's getting right into it. He's got a clientele and helping, go in, make that coffee, for the first couple of months, and then say,
everybody does it.
What's that? What's this do? Well, and, if you find someone like that is willing to take a chance on you, and that'll start the wheels turning, and then you can go through that process. And, once you're out of school, just like, go try to work in a production house too, go push cases for 3, 4, 5, 6 months.
We've all done
Find
it.
a mentor, right? And I still do it.
Lots of people have
I just
done it.
unloaded a trailer yesterday. It was a guy in the trailer.
Yeah.
You know?
I know.
So by now, I was like, 15 years ago, I'm just like, it would be like, now it's like, yeah, you're going to be the guy in the trailer on the cold night. It's like, I would have been like, no, not in 15 years from now. Like 15 years ago, if I was thinking about it, right?
Yeah.
But now that I'm here, it's like, I'll still unload a trailer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not above that.
No, me too. Me
so-
too. Especially if I'm out there and I'm, crew chiefing or whatever. And,
Yeah.
it's like we're short guys or somebody struggles. It's like, let's go.
Yeah.
Like, let's grab that side. Let's go.
Yeah.
Like,
I got to be way more careful now, but I'll still do it and do it with a smile on my face and whatever and just get it done. Job's got to get done.
Yeah.
That's it.
what's coming down the pipe for you? What's up? What's coming down in the future here?
Yeah. So April wine for the time being. I got that tour with Triumph coming up, so that's gonna be great.
That's gonna be great.
Oh yeah, I'm really excited about that. Like, what a lineup, eh?
Yeah.
Like, tour with the Triumph and April wine, like two Canadian legendary heavyweights, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be cool.
So I'm really looking forward to that. And I got a run, actually just before that too, I got a run with Finger 11 coming up in the States, going out with Filter.
You said that.
So I'm filling in for that. Cool. So there's going to be a little piggyback and go from April wine. If I need to do some, Finger 11 guys, give me a call back again. I'll be working with them. And then, I'm going to play this out. We got plans with April wine for the next couple of years because there's some 50th anniversary albums coming up.
Oh, that's cool.
So, not a lot of talk about it yet, but there are 3 like massive records are starting, like, I think 27, 28, 29, like kind of Nature, the First Glance, Nature of the Beast, the big one, on for like 3 or 4 years. So we're probably going to make some rounds, like doing those ones.
That's cool.
You heard it here first,
heard it here
folks.
first.
Maybe it's just talk, right? It's just coming up. So of course it's going to be a conversation. So if that's a ticket and everybody stays healthy and well and into it, or that's the next 3, 4, 5 years doing that. And I'll, be doing something else in the breaks and stuff too. Like I said, I work with a lot of other bands, like worked with JJ Wilde for the last 5 years. And I'm sure all the other bands I've worked with, it's just like, there's guys that out there, and I'm sure Pelche would be like, I got a tour, but there's a couple big rec shows. Can you fill in for me, right? That's what we do. We trade off gigs.
Yeah.
So there'll be stuff.
I'm sure you'll walk out the door tonight after filming this and your phone will
right? It's gonna be, I bet you, if it is, I'm gonna call you back right away and be like, you're not gonna freaking believe this. So
it'll be like 10 minutes after this episode
I'm hoping
airs.
for that now, just to be like, okay, there is someone out there. It's either the old man or one of my rock idols, Randy Rhoads, or something. Be like, look out for this guy.
That's
there.
awesome.
So yeah,
I love it. Well, dude, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank
man.
you so much, man.
Of course, man.
It's a pleasure to finally meet you.
Yeah,
It's just a lot of fun. Yeah, I don't do this a lot, so it's cool to start doing this and
man,
shake out the nerves of doing this stuff. And
absolutely,
be a cool guy.
Well, tell the guys I'd love to have them on, and I'll have you on.
Absolutely,
again.
I think we're in this area a lot. Right. So, definitely and get Brian. He's got some old stories, man.
Yeah, man. We got to get that down.
OG. Mark would love to do it.
Absolutely.
And he's Montreal, but he comes down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we'll make it happen.
That's cool, dude. Awesome.
Right on,
thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you.
Everybody, Ryan here from Music City Live. Thanks so much for coming on, just checking out the show. We'll see you on the next episode, everybody. Take care.
Thank you for watching Music City Live. If you like this episode, like the video. And for more clips and episodes, subscribe to the channel. Feel free to join the conversation by commenting below and visit us at musiccityliveshow.com.